Live. Hello everyone and welcome to the 7th weekly live stream. I can't believe it's 7 already. It just feels like yesterday I started doing these. But yeah, hello everyone who started watching this already, because you're the guys who are tuning in tomorrow or later. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tweet out my links to this live stream and stuff and hope people see it and join and everything. So yes, bear with me quick while I just tweet this out. But yeah, today I'll talk about various stuff as usual. I probably will divulge into discussing the comments, but of course you've all seen that Joe Biden making a great start to his campaign. There's a footage of him talking to Walter Mondale, who was the vice president for Jimmy Carter, talking about how much he respects Dick Cheney, and Dick Cheney was a great man. And obviously, Dick Cheney's been in the news a bit more because that film Vice came out and obviously exposed Dick Cheney to a new generation. Like my generation, we didn't know how horrible he was because I was only 12 when George Bush left office, and Dick Cheney, did he resign before? I don't even know. But anyway, let me just tweet this out. And then I'll get more into the chat live streaming right now. Come join. But yeah, it's also bank holiday in the UK, which is nice. Not that it really matters to me because I'm not in full-time employment. Hi, Evan. Thanks for joining. Okay, let me just get this up on my computer so I can read the chat better. I'm not going to use my phone today. Shit, where is it? Here we go. 5 watching, and now it's even more. Hi, Kennedy. Thanks for joining. Okay, got this chat up nicely in my browser. Live stream right now, come join. So I'm just uploading the stream. Right now, come join. Let me just put it on my Instagram as well. Not that really anyone pays attention to my Instagram, but it's not a bad thing to do in case there's the odd person who wants to join the stream. So that's where I'm going to take a picture of myself on stream for Instagram. Yeah, so Joe Biden's start to his campaign hasn't been the best. A lot of the things he's saying, like that other video that's resurfaced of him telling millennials, like, stop complaining, basically, which is kind of ironic, considering he is a boomer, isn't he? I imagine Trump's born 1946. Joe Biden, maybe he's born in the early 40s, but pretty much a boomer still. And it's funny, someone who had it so good, living in the best period of American history in terms of, economic, especially as a white man, is telling our generation who have it the worse than anyone in about 70 years, that we should stop whining, That clip was in the Gravel campaign video. It's so ignorant. Yeah, I know, it's so stupid. Is it Gravel or Gravel? Someone said it last week. I don't remember exactly what it is. But yes, Joe Biden is, I don't know. Yeah, I hate him so much as well. That's why my last video was about how much I couldn't stand him. Like how much he's like Gravel. Is that the right spelling? Wait, let me just open a window. I always get hot when I'm live streaming. There we go. On the second syllable of Gravel. We need to. We'll wait for more people to join, and then we'll see more what it is. But yeah, did I see your videos? Yeah, I did. They're so stupid. So basically, Chol put on the comments of my community tab 2 stupid educational videos about American history. One was about basically the settlers and then the revolution. The other was about, I don't remember what the second was about, but they're so stupid. They're like these weird 60s animated stuff, which is funny, but get dragged troll. Well, I'll see if any of you remember it. I'll just get the animation up for Kennedy. See if you remember this, because you're American. So this is what Chol sent me. So it's like this sort of style animation. Oh wait, the lighting's not great. It's about, oh shit. Let's see if I get a bit better. Yeah, this sort of style animation. Play it a bit. Turn the sound off first so I don't get copyrighted. So look at that. Whatever the fuck this is. So it's basically about like the settlers having a new identity. There's like King George or something. But it's apparently just some educational video for Americans, but it's so corny and so stupid. But yeah, Schoolhouse Rock, I think it is. Yeah. Does everyone have to learn about it in school? You saw it in school. Funny. But sorry, getting more onto Biden. Yeah, like, I made my video this week, and I got some comments against it on Reddit when I posted it on Reddit. So basically, people were saying, right, this is a ridiculous argument. People were saying, lesser of two evils, right? You got to write, if it's Joe Biden, you got to vote for Joe Biden because it's Trump, right? And I said, what about if Trump wins and then Pence runs in 2024, right? Do you do the same argument then? They're like, yeah. And I was like, well, what about maybe Pence doesn't win, maybe he wins. What about after Pence's 2 terms, Ted Cruz runs for president? Do you make the exact same argument then? So you keep voting for a horrible Democratic candidate because they're not the GOP? And I find that argument so ridiculous because I tried to explain to this person. I was like, in the UK, right, at a time when economic conditions were so much worse than America in 2019, right, so about 1890s UK, that's when the Labour Party was formed and then burst into the scene and basically destroyed the voting for the Liberal Party. Because back then you had the choice. Mainly you had two choices. You had Conservative or you had Liberal. And Liberals were the remnants of the Whigs, and they were reformed into something else by got what the first Liberal Prime Minister was. Is it? Not Al Gore. It was John Russell, I think. Prime Minister John Russell, and Gladstone was the Prime Minister of the Liberal Party, pretty famous. And Asquith, I think, was one of the last Liberal Prime Ministers. But they're all pretty elite and stuff. It's like the Democrats today. It was basically like the Democrats and Republicans, and then the Labour movement burst on the scene and destroyed the support for this. And then Labour became the second biggest party, and the Liberals were like completely destroyed, right? And think about that you could say to those people, yeah, but the Liberals aren't the Tories, so keep voting for the Liberals again because the Tories are monsters and stuff, and you're so poor. Keep voting for the Liberals until the Conservatives aren't utterly monstrous, and then you can choose who you want, or choose a different party. Keir Hardie was the founder of the Labour Party. Choose someone that actually represents you and vote for them, because otherwise nothing is going to change if you keep voting for the corporate Democrats. And I said as well, corporate Democrats, or just Democrats in general, they're a right-wing party. And because American politics is so far right, you got the far right, and then you got the right wing, which is the Democrats. I said, what do the Democrats actually stand for? The Republicans don't. Okay, they're better on social issues. They're better maybe on gay rights and minority rights. But what have they actually done? Right. So Bill Clinton, he's made this private prison industry worse. This pipeline stuff worse. Joe Biden voted for the Iraq War, helped create the Patriot Act, did all these racist policies. How is he really any different from a Republican? He's not. And then you have other people like Chuck Schumer praising Trump for moving the US embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. That even goes against Bill Clinton's policy. Bill Clinton wanted to bring peace to Israel-Palestine. So Chuck Schumer thinks it's a good idea to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and that's just going to inflame the whole Arab world. And it's so ridiculous that a Democratic leader supports Trump's decision to do this, and then they all vote for Trump's war budgets continuously. Do you honestly think the Democrats are really any different than the Republicans? It's just because the Republicans have gone so insane that you think this is a good idea, but still, they're the party of corporations. They're all bought, nearly all of them, and that's why I would love to see Bernie run as third party. He should have done that in 2016, but of course, I actually didn't want to have all the blame of Trump. But now he should have done that. He should have run third party this time, because if they screw him again, he signed the pledge not to run as an independent. So I don't understand the logic anymore. And you need someone like AOC, Ilhan Omar must realise how fucked the Democrats are. But they threw her to the wolves, and they threw her to Trump and stuff. All this stuff happening with Ilhan Omar is because the Democrats did not stand up for her. And they let Trump and everyone just attack her consistently and smear her and everything, because Chelsea Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer saying all this garbage about her. That should make people realise Democrats are not American, generally the American people's friend and stuff. They're just another branch of the Republican Party. And to me, like I always say, every Democrat in America, essentially, apart from a few minority ones like Justice Democrats and some other ones, would be in the Conservative Party in the UK, no question. Obama would be Conservative, no question. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, everyone like that. So Joe Biden is not a Blairite. Joe Biden would be like hardcore Tory. He's more far right than Theresa May is. Sorry, bit of a rant there. So HSCMUFC. Hey man, Man United were so bad today, weren't they? Like, I support United and I support Brentford. It's just depressing. We should play Scott McTominay false nine though. So he says, Kavanaugh, who do you believe is the worst president in modern American history? I know it's like picking between being punched in the gut or kicked in the balls, but who is the lesser of the evils? the best president, the modern one, it depends how far back we're going. Let's say post-war period, because if we're doing war period or before that, FDR is obviously the best president, isn't he? Like his policies, like let's forget about like the racism and shit like that because that was just endemic in America. But FDR is obviously the best president ever, I'd say. Worst president, it depends what you wanna judge it on. So Richard Nixon killed the most people. So only half the casualties of Vietnam. People don't realize this. Half the casualties in terms of American were sustained under Johnson, and then the second half were sustained under Nixon. But he killed way more Vietnamese people. You know, Christmas bombing. You had Linebacker 1 and 2, so what Linebacker 2 is a Christmas bombing. You have the secret wars in like Laos and Cambodia. He killed so many more people. If we're talking about death toll, Nixon's got the highest death toll, and I don't know why that's not remembered more about him, because we obviously remember Nixon for Watergate and stuff. And Watergate is nothing to compare to what Trump has been doing. Let's keep it real. Nixon tried to pay hush money to people who were trying to bug the DNC, and they weren't even doing it at his request. They're doing it at his staff's request. He wasn't even involved in that. Trump is obstructing justice like so clearly, and it's so much worse. And Nixon obviously killed the most, but what Ronald Reagan has the worst effect on the culture. You know, you think about Trump and Fox News. Ronald Reagan is responsible for all of that. He unleashed this insane political conservative Christianity on America, and the effects of that, George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Donald Trump, that there's a through line between that, and people try and pretend Republicans were fine before all these people. They weren't. Republicans were bad, but Gerald Ford was a normal Republican president, right? That's the last true Republican before the Tea Party and all the craziness took over. Gerald Ford, he seemed like a decent guy, and a lot of Democrats said like he's a guy you could have policy differences with, but then go have a beer with because he was fundamentally like a good person and stuff. But sorry, I'm missing some of his comments because I saw a ticked name, so I'm trying to work out who you are because I always want to see Second Clancy. Oh, cool, man. Second Clancy, so you're like some big YouTuber. How did you find my channel? So I appreciate you stopping in. So Second Clancy in the chat has nearly 100,000 subscribers. So Second Clancy's asking me, what got you interested in American politics? As an American, I can't imagine getting into another foreign country's politics. Keep up the great work, by the way. I really appreciate that, man. I didn't know you subscribed to me because I can't see, for some reason, my subscribers hasn't updated in 2 months, so I can't see who subscribed to me anymore. Like, if your subscriptions are public, which I'm going to check out your channel quick. They don't seem to be public, but still. Second Clancy, what got me interested was, I guess, because I'm half Irish and stuff, it's always been like, you know, Ireland has quite a massive tie to the US, and in terms of, like, my history and stuff, like, my family from Dublin and links to, like, America and everything like that. So that's why, like, I like this initially, but also I love video games when I was a kid. I love movies, so watching things like Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, playing like Call of Duty when you're like playing as these American characters. Second Clancy is a big YouTuber, so check him out. He's like similar sort of politics to me, but I'm just having a look at his stuff. I don't know if he's left the chat or anything, but I'm just explaining why I'm like American politics. And then in school, we did when I was about 14, 15, we did like the civil rights era. And because of Hollywood, I think, is what I would say has influenced me liking American politics so much, because I just love American film and TV culture and everything. And that's why I've become so fascinated with it. And then in terms of university, I did really want to do American politics and stuff. And we did in our A-levels, we did like China and the Cold War, so that links to America. And I really want to do American stuff, but for my first 2 years, I didn't do anything about America in a university, to my disappointment. But then in my third year, I did nearly my whole year on Vietnam. I did one module on the Bible and history, which is which we looked at the Civil War and like why some Confederate priests joined the Confederacy even though they knew slavery was wrong, blah blah blah. And then 2 modules on Vietnam. Did my dissertation on the foreign policy of Jimmy Carter, and take that to my masters, and that, you know, just developed my interest even further. Take that to my masters. We did lots of stuff about international relations theory, which included a lot of US stuff. I did a whole module on US foreign policy, which was really interesting because obviously it's just when Trump got elected. And then I did some more modules on American stuff and like the Middle East, which is all tied to America. Yeah, so I love American history, I love American politics, and it's such a flashy show and everything that I just I just really, really like it, and that's my history in it. So sorry, that was taking second Clancy's comment. Yeah, I don't know if he's in the chat still, but yeah, for anyone else who just joined, that is why I like American politics. So just going to read some more comments now. So Charles says, Eisenhower was the best since World War II. No, he wasn't. You're crazy if you think that. But he did have some good ideas about lots of things. But then Evan saying, so because American politics is hopeful and inspiring at times, I'd like to AOC and Bernie. So I don't know if you guys checked out my review about AOC's documentary, but I said in the review, her AOC and Joe Crowley, they look like they're actors. You know what I mean? Like they're so polished and so dramatic. Like I can't believe they're real people. I think it's a British thing because it's our politics is, like I said before, it's so austere and kind of boring because our politicians are like real people. A lot of them, especially, like they're kind of weird, or like they got like northern accents and like casual accents, things that you don't see on mainstream media. Like, you know, a lot of people like from Liverpool, Manchester, like places in the Midlands and everything, their accents are not something that's represented much on TV. I guess with Peaky Blinders, has kind of popularized the Brummie accent a bit more, but it's like when you have like American politicians, it's like people with accents from all these massive films. So like obviously New York is one of the biggest cities for film, and you know, like having someone from like the Bronx and stuff, like people from the Bronx and New York, it just feels like they're from like some sort of like Martin Scorsese film or something. So second Clancy saying he's not a big channel anymore. I used to be an anti-SJW back in 2016 when I got my subs and stopped making vids and I realised how ridiculous it was. Now I'm trying to start the channel again, talk about lefty politics and shit I'm this time. Yeah, well done, man, because I wasn't like you, like I made a video about like what anti-SJW sort of really are, but at the same time it is quite lucrative, but it's just good you've changed your identity on it, which I appreciate because obviously we all know how much more lucrative it is to be that type of person. Like you look at some of the biggest political channels, especially they're all like these anti-SJWs, like Stephen Crowder, Dave Rubin. I don't know how big he is, but like Jordan Peterson, things like that. And when you talk about this stuff, I don't know, the internet just loves it, don't they? So it's so lucrative. So yeah, I appreciate you taking a moral stance. Like someone like Dave Rubin is like the opposite to you because he used to be an all right liberal guy when he was on TYT, completely sold out, and you know he's just. Is there a bigger example of a political sellout than Dave Rubin letting someone talk about how much they hate gay people right in his face? Like he's giving them a platform, getting all these Nazis on his thing. So yeah, second Clancy, yeah, good work. And I'm looking at your channel now. So you're talking about Ilhan Omar, talking about Warren, and you're talking about all these people. So yeah, it's good. It's good you've changed it up, man. Just keep at it, really. Don't know if and yeah, your channels, your featured channels, and you're related to all these. You know, like when I look in your search bar, Secular Talk, David Patman, and everything. So yeah, good work. And obviously, it's just, you know, like I'm saying, it is hard to change. But sorry, some more comments. Sorry, I missed a couple. LBJ was the best for his domestic policy. Yep. Ike is the best all around for keeping the New Deal policies, not making a beyond terrible foreign policy decision. Yeah, he did threaten North Korea with nukes, but I think that was just to end the war. And Ike's border stuff, I think, is it in El Paso? Is El Paso on the border? Like he's like spraying the immigrants with like chemicals and stuff. So Kennedy says you're supposed to be writing a paper about D-Day. Yeah, we talked about this last week. What are you going to base it on this time? It's talking about how D-Day, something about how what D-Day stands for in the modern times or something. Hi Kavanaugh, hi Doug, thanks for joining. Chol saying Republican extremism began with Goldwater, not Reagan. Goldwater was more rational than some in some instances, but he was crazy in terms of his like foreign policy. So, HSC saying I honestly would not be going to college without LBG's work and study and financial aid. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he for social stuff, LBJ was really good, and like he made some good quotes, even though he was pretty like he was racist in his own way, but he was a good president. So Eric saying ahoy, welcome back. Hi Eric, thanks for joining. Pernicion or Pernicion joining as well. Hey, Sober Irishman, hello. Brenda Davis Noise. Sorry if I butchered that name. Just found you, so I subscribed to your channel. Yeah, thank you for doing so. Altruism as a surfer. It was Reagan that perpetrated neoliberalism with free trade and the worldwide slave labour pool that drove all wages to slave wages. His economist was a student of Hayek and Milton Friedman. I'm trying to think. Would everyone agree Reagan started neoliberalism? I guess he was just on the cusp of I'd say he's neoconservative. I'd say Bill Clinton onwards is more like the neoliberal, like the end of history Fukuyama bullshit. And then MUC saying again, Republicans went off the edge around the 1970s. Nixon delegitimized himself. The greatest generation began to die off. Nixon. I find Nixon really interesting. Like a guy who came from nothing and he worked so hard only to like fall based on something so ridiculous like that he did. But obviously what he did in Vietnam is inexcusable. Sorry, just picking up some comments. Try monetizing the anti-SJWs, give them a taste of their own medicine. What do you mean by monetizing them? But yeah, they are cringe. And anti-SJWs is so stupid. Like, I got that video, don't I? Rise of the anti-SJWs, just talking about it. Yeah, Kennedy Rubin was always an idiot. Doug, Sargon is just a fucking racist piece of trash. Like, saying he's going to rape that MP, and then he doubled down on it. He's garbage, man. Penalty on watching Michael Brooks versus Sargon. I've just ignored him because people used to say I reminded them of Sargon of Akkad. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm English. But he's a fat little piece of trash. Guys, hi bro, how are you? Yeah, thanks for joining, man. Okay, Kennedy's writing about how climate change is our D-Day. Environmental policy as a proxy for the fight against the global fire. Right? Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good perspective, and actually, that's not what I would have thought if I was going to write it myself. I don't know what I'd base on. What's modern D-Day? It's quite a hard one, actually. There's not too much stuff like which you can be uncynical for. Oh, Second Clancy. I probably missed this, but cheers for joining us. He's got to head out. Keep up the good work, man. Yeah. Everyone go have a look at Second Clancy's channel. He's a good lad. So Evan saying, I thought neoliberalism was the new right perspective that was Thatcher and Reagan, mainly summed up as a battle with Thatcher and Reagan was a joke. Neoliberalism is just classical liberalism evolved. Brenda saying, I've seen some of your politics in England, very different from ours. Your soaps are so different to American soaps. I don't watch British soaps, but they are kind of weird. They're kind of it's all about like working class and everything. It's not like flashy. Sargon of Mossad. Is he like a massive Israel supporter? Just the beard, brother. Okay. Well, I still his beard's a bit. I don't want to give him a compliment. It's a bit fuller than mine, but it's got loads of grey in it, so not the best. Oh, okay. It was on Jordan Peterson. He managed to monetize SJWs. Yeah, it's so lucrative, the SJW stuff. I think there's someone else called The Quartering, who I've only come across because Angry Joe's been fighting with him on Twitter. Oh, Anzo Mazaki said, hello all, can't talk because I'm doing the dishes, but I'm listening, vote against Sargon the Hackard. Cheers for joining, Anzo, appreciate it. Brenda, glad to have found you, my English friend. Yeah, glad you've joined. How did you find my channel? Was it just in a suggested live stream or something? But yeah, appreciate it. Guy saying, Leo liberalism was a blank check for robber barons, yeah. Sargon looks like a cartoon villain. His nastiness really radiates from within. Brenda saying, I love English soaps and crime-related shows. What soaps do you like and what crime shows do you like? The only soap I ever watched was Coronation Street because my first girlfriend used to watch it. But I really thought it was shit then, and I don't think it's any good now. Oh, yeah, Joel, I did see that. Did I know Joe Biden plagiarised a speech from Neil Kinnock in 1988? Yeah, because he plagiarised loads of stuff in his run for president then, didn't he? So it's quite funny. So Holly Garrity asked me, what do I think of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Well, it's not a story that like is very well known because it's not what the Jedi would tell you. But from my understanding, Darth Plagueis was a Dark Lord of the Sith, so powerful, and I think he was so knowledgeable that he could prevent others from dying. But unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew, and his apprentice ended up killing him or something. And you know, if you're thinking in your head, oh wow, this sounds really amazing. How do I learn this power? I don't think you can learn it from a Jedi. So just something to keep in mind there. So Holly's in the chat. Holly's my girlfriend. You might have seen her in a couple videos. So maybe subscribe to her channel. So click on it and have a look. She was in my film review and stuff. Brenda saying, I found it just because I'm on YouTube and trying to find different people at different views. So what's your views traditionally? And how did you find it? Like, what was the rabbit hole you went down? Was I like suggested, or was the live stream coming up? So Pernision saying, I only like British comedies. British comedies are better. Like the US Office is really funny, but like Peep Show, In-Betweeners, Mitchell and Webb and stuff like that, that's all good stuff. What is the stance of Brexit? I'm confused. I might get into that in a bit. Matt saying, hello, missed a few streams. Glad to be back after some chatting. Oh, nice one, Matt. Where did you go? Cheers for joining the stream. Coronation Street. Oh, no, it's so rubbish. Brexit is so embarrassing and it's dominating our politics. It's showing with the local elections. Love the Mitchell Webb show. Oh, Brenda saying, I'm a progressive and I'm proud of that. I don't support corporate politicians. Guys saying, hi, honey. That's good then, Brenda, because I'm pretty similar to that, although I'm British, so progressive's not the right word. So Kennedy saying, I know you don't like American comedy, but I watched a video of Adam Sandler. Yeah, I saw that on Reddit. I didn't click on it. Apparently it was really sad, though. I didn't know Adam Sandler could sing and stuff. So I'm just replying to a text. But, yeah, American comedy, like, Friends is funny as well, even though it's quite outdated now. I always like Friends. But, yeah, in terms of Brexit... Oh, okay, Brenda's saying the streaming video was suggested. Oh, that's interesting. I've never got someone coming in from the stream. But yeah, glad you found the channel. I think you'll find a lot you agree with if you're progressive. But Biden says, Andre says, Biden says he's the most progressive candidate. So let's just go with that. Yeah, if progressive means you push for racist policies and you're in the bed with all the corporations and you treat women like garbage and you're also a sexual predator, then yeah, he's definitely the most progressive. Kennedy's saying Adam Sandler has a Hanukkah-themed musical. His voice is actually really nice. Comedy music albums. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Sort of like Lonely Island. Max saying, did I see the video of Sacha Baron Cohen interviewing Dick Cheney? No, I haven't seen that. Was that on a... Shit, that was on the... What's that show he did called? I made a couple of videos on it back in the summer. This is America? Or some shit like that? Wait, let me find it. But yeah, was he playing that like Mossad colonel or something again? Wait, let's have a look. Sacha Baron Cohen. Who is America? That's what it was called. It was funny. I haven't seen the full Dick Cheney one, but I think he's got like something about the war criminal stuff. So Joel saying Joe Biden would have been a Dixiecrat if he was born a generation earlier. Yeah, exactly. Or just a typical Republican, man. He's just like the rest of them. Progressing racism and inequality for 30 years. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in terms of Brexit, we just had our local elections, and the Tories got crushed, and Labour lost 300 seats. The Tories lost 1,300 in like local councils and stuff. And basically, what is ridiculous is both Labour and the Tories have said this means the population want us to get on with Brexit, despite the Greens and the Lib Dems making massive gains. But the Greens and Lib Dems are against Brexit. So that is the message, that the two parties pushing for Brexit by the different extent. So obviously the Tories are pushing it the hardest. They got crushed in the local elections. Labour lost a significant amount of seats, but not loads, 300 compared to 1,300 on the Tory side. So that probably shows at the local level in a lot of places, people don't want Brexit because instead of these parties, they voted for the Lib Dems and Greens who are anti-Brexit. But it's probably going to all like calm down until like the autumn because we're not leaving now till the October 30th, like Halloween Brexit. Did I ever watch the Ali the Ali G show? Did I ever watch the Ali G show Watch some on YouTube and some genius bits. Interview like Donald Trump and Noam Chomsky. Yeah, I haven't watched the show. I've watched the movie, which is obviously scripted compared to the. He's more like not. He plays a character, doesn't he? But he interviews people like real life. No, I need to check some of them out. The Noam Chomsky one would be funny. The Donald Trump one would just be so cringe. So Brenda saying we have a great amount of candidates running for president. Yeah, too many in the Democratic field. Holly's asking, do you think Remainers should vote in European elections out of principle? Yeah, I'm bad, and I don't know if you voted in it, Holly. I'm pretty sure you didn't. The local elections I didn't even vote in, just because it's Lib Dems and stuff. But yeah, you should vote in the European elections out of principle because you never know what will happen. Like, what if we don't leave the EU and then the Brexit party are like really dominant in the European Parliament? Like, that wouldn't be good for anyone. So yeah, I guess they should. I don't know if I'll vote yet. Don't know who you want to vote for. So Brenda saying I don't support Joe Biden at all. Yeah, I think you're in good company in this chat. I don't think any of us do. Bruno is one of the best honestly. Bruno's funny, but I prefer Borat. But it isn't. Bruno is super funny. I don't know if you could get away with it today, but Borat is just like crazy. When he's running around naked or that fat guy, or some of the stuff he does, like when he goes to that. No, but it's in Bruno he goes to the swingers party. So awkward, man. He's such a good actor. Andre saying, you mean you're going to kick the can down the road for 5 months and ask for another extension? Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. The more it gets delayed, the more likely it is we won't leave. And I said to Holly years ago, I don't think we'll leave. My dad said the same thing. Because it's just too complicated. It's like, you guys in the US have like NAFTA and the TPP, but Brexit isn't as simple. I'm not saying they're simple anyway, but Brexit isn't as simple as that. It's like a federal. Federal is the right word. Federal union of European states that free travel. You can go work somewhere without a visa and stuff. It's so much more than NAFTA and stuff. And asking people, do you want to leave the EU? Yes or no? Is such a simple question. And as you're probably aware in the US, just in the UK, most people don't have the first clue about politics because they're either uninterested or they haven't had the benefit of a good education and stuff. And they're just easily manipulated by people like Nigel Farage and stuff. Like how you can be working class and think someone like Nigel Farage, you know, coming from like, was he a stockbroker or something, and then he just lived off his salary from being an MEP and stuff. How you can think someone like that actually cares about your life and cares about your living conditions is just stupid. You know, you wish people could see someone for what they are, like an opportunist and everything. So. Oh, Mac, yeah, I did see that bit. He got Dick Cheney to sign a water board, which is just a gallon jug with a rag attached to it. Brenda saying, I'm a 52-year-old and I'm still learning new things about politicians. That's good, though, if you're still open-minded when you're in your 50s, because a lot of people aren't. Because obviously, in terms of Brexit and Trump, a lot of older people just vote what they've always done their whole lives and, you know, think they know it all. Brexit would be like Texas trying to leave the US. Yeah, it's not a bad example actually, because obviously Texas used to be its own country before Mexico destroyed it and they joined the US and stuff in the 1830s. But yeah, it is like that, and I don't think people are aware. Even I wasn't aware until I started this new freelance job I'm doing. At how much we rely on the EU for so much stuff, like especially in terms of labour. So Percy on getting in the watch the majority report. It's good show, friendly chat. Yeah, majority report's good. Brenda saying, sorry, I lost the chat. We were almost British America. Am I back? Can people comment if I'm back? It just said it was reconnecting, which I've never seen before. I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. Great. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Brenda. Like, what? How can you trace your heritage that far back? Unless, like, did your family come over a lot later to America, or are you like from like the original settlers from like the 1600s and stuff? What was date? Oh shit! Sorry, my chat keeps messing up. Where is this? what was David Cameron's legacy? Well, it's obviously shit with Brexit, isn't it? And everything he started with the Tories, and how much they're destroying this country at the moment for their benefit and for their power and stuff. So, him and Theresa May. Theresa May will be remembered worse because of what she's playing around with Brexit, but they'll be remembered as two of the worst prime ministers last 2 centuries, probably. Maybe at least worst of the last 100 years. Evan saying Britain's an island, so it's different to Texas. I think he just means in terms of like a state that joined a more federal institution that has a history of being on its own. They've got everyone from Social Democrats to Communists in that show. Yeah, I don't watch it often, but it's always good. Didn't they have Anna Kasparian on the other day talking about Dave Rubin? So guys saying, beside, let's put one moment, American spreading, freedom and democracy by side. Let's admit, we'll see. Yeah, that's what always is, isn't it, guys? If you see that film Vice about Dick Cheney, literally carving up Iraq for his oil buddies that he used to work with and stuff, there should be freedom of movement between the US and the UK. No, there shouldn't. keep the Americans out of the UK. Although I wouldn't want to move to the US because of like healthcare and stuff and taxes. So I think you might have to. I'm not sure if I would be able to just pay taxes here. Secular Talk was okay. No shade. Yeah, I don't watch Secular Talk really. The only ones I occasionally watch. I watch the Young Turks a lot, and then Jimmy Dore, and then I'd say David Pakman. Not that I think they're the best in that order. So, Hayfield was that on a bit. So Ben Jamin said, honestly disappointed none of the progressive, liberal, independent media didn't play on the words Joe Biden loves dick. Bit childish, but come on, it's a given. Yeah, it's pretty good. Sorry, it's just so annoying using the chat on the computer instead. Keep losing my place. So Brenda telling everyone, thank you, I've watched the Majority Report and TYT. I met Jank. Oh, cool. So Brenda met Cenk Uygur and she was at the Capitol to testify in Congress to fight against money in politics. Oh, well done. It's good that you're an activist as well. What was Cenk like? He seemed like a good guy. I've always liked TYT, so Andre saying, ideally there'd be no borders, but we're a long way from being able to do that without further exploitation in other developed countries. Yeah, no borders don't really make sense because what would happen is just like how America exploits Mexicans and Hispanics for cheap labor. That would be even worse if you just had like loads of people coming over wherever they want. Yeah, TYT is good. That really helped me. Yeah, I really love TYT. Rational Voice unblocked me. Well, if you're here talking, I haven't blocked you. I think we just kicked you. I don't know if we blocked you. Fenison saying that's funny shit. What's left of Ruben's soul fading from his face. Max saying you wouldn't want to move to the US because of taxes. A British person saying that is weird. Only because I'm not sure if I'd have to pay taxes to both countries. Not that you'd have to pay like this and this. I wouldn't want to pay to be in two places. I'm not sure how it works though. Obviously, Britain has a higher tax rate, but you get more things out of it, don't you? You should give Hassan Piker a watch. Yeah, that's Cenk's nephew, isn't it? I subscribe to the channel. I followed him on Twitter recently. He's alright. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not big on watching the political things. I use Young Turks to get my news. Jimmy Dore does a really funny prank calls and some stuff. I watched Rational Voice. I gave you $2. You're in my debt forever. Fuck no. And you're using another account as well. Little sneak. Who's more conservative, Thatcher or Reagan? Well, I guess Reagan, but they're pretty similar, aren't they? Max saying, you've seen the video from the 70s of Biden saying he tried to prostitute himself to corporations, but he was turned down. He looks even creepy in his late 30s. Didn't he get like a hair transplant or something? Because his hair was going in the 70s and stuff. I ain't surprised, but he is a shill for corporations still. TYT Cenk, it's okay that the US assassinates leaders from other countries. Did he ever say that? So Brenda saying, I found out much of my heritage, so much Britain and Ireland and Scotland. Yeah, it's all mixed together, isn't it? So, especially Ireland and Scotland and the Celtic places. But that's cool. I don't know my heritage too far back. I just know it's Irish mostly. Until my grandparents moved over here. Here's a solution, no more nations. Wouldn't that be good? America can't exploit Mexico if America doesn't exist. Yeah, but the powerful in America would still exploit Hispanics, wouldn't they? Even if there weren't any borders. Evan saying identity is important and people's cultures need to be protected. No borders wouldn't probably even be ideal. Let's just go to Mars, have a Mars colony, which only has expanding borders. Yeah, but Evan, if we move to Mars, in a couple generations, they would all identify as Martians, and then that's another identity and everything. Yeah, Hassan Piker's good. Just make sure you're rich before you come to the US. You don't have to pay taxes. Don't pay tax like Donald Trump because he went so bankrupt. It was something that he doesn't actually have to pay tax anymore. That's why he doesn't want people to see it. So James is saying, check out Secular Talk on YouTube and the Citations Needed podcast. Very good content. Yeah, we were talking about Secular Talk just a minute ago. Who's more conservative, Hillary Clinton, Theresa May, Clinton? Holly asking, do I know where my ancestors are from? Yeah, thanks to Holly, I kind of do, because Holly bought me a test kit, the DNA test kit, and it said I was mostly from like China, Germany, and somewhere else, but I forgot how far back it went. I don't know if the furthest it went back was like 20,000 years or something, so I'm not exactly sure like where I am exactly from, but yeah, it says Chinese and German make up most of my DNA from that part of the world. Are you Anglo-Saxon or Celtic? Well, I'd imagine I'm Celtic because all my relatives are from Ireland and they're from Dublin and the Catholic part. So most of the South are descended from Celts. So I'd imagine I'm Celtic. Anglo-Saxon is limited to England, really. Brenda saying my grandma was from Ireland, or she was, no longer me. So you have a direct relation from Ireland then? You did, your grandma. Yeah, Evan, I don't know if you played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, but basically the premise of the game is Earth is sort of, and it's a premise of a lot of sci-fi, is Earth is united, right? Has like a sort of, even in like Futurama, like it's like one country, but then you have Mars, which is like where these other people were born, and they've sort of formed their own identity and their own politics and stuff, so they have a war with Earth. And I didn't get this job, but I pitched an article talking about like the dangers of, like what history can teach us about the dangers of planet colonization. So, for example, when the New World was colonized, a lot of these places became independent places because they didn't want to pay taxes to the homeland anymore. So you have like the Pizarro brothers, and you have like the Cortez and stuff, who would claim this land for themselves and like set themselves up as these rulers, and they wouldn't want to pay taxes anymore. And you see the same in America as well. So they didn't want to pay any taxes, and then I said that could happen, and they formed their own identity. So like Pizarro was from Peru, wasn't he? That's where they started the colony. Cortez, I forget where Cortez is from exactly, but I think he's from Mexico, or he settled Mexico and stuff. And then eventually, they agitated for independence, and Britain helped recognize them as independent countries in the 1820s and stuff. And that could happen with colonizations of different planets. And I said especially corporate colonization. So you had the East India Company and other sort of like the Dutch East India Company and things like that. And do you trust corporations with this stuff? Like, do you trust Elon Musk to run a corporation to essentially own Mars? I don't know if I trust that so much based on historical precedent. And you see people like Pizarro and Cortez, and you ask yourself, would you trust someone like that with so much power to basically running a whole planet? So, so guys saying Jank has said we should consider taking down leaders from other countries. So, I mean, like in an isolated theoretical vacuum, you can justify it, but obviously, in the reality of world politics, killing the leader of another country is ridiculous. Like even Saddam Hussein, because look at the chaos that's brought. So Brinda's saying, I have 4 grandchildren which are all mixed races. Oh, nice. So you've got very diverse family. So Evan's saying, identity and culture are important, therefore borders are important. We just need more acceptance and egalitarian society. So Evan, what would you think about somewhere like London then? So it's extremely diverse, and as the years pass and the centuries pass, people are going to become more generations will have descendants from another country, but they'll be born in this country. So my grandparents are all from Ireland, but my parents are born here. I'm born here, and me and Holly are both Irish, to a similar extent. And if we had kids, they'd be like sort of Irish as well, but then they'd be English too, because they wouldn't even, for the most part, even have any Irish family left, but they'd still be essentially completely Irish descent. So don't they form like a new identity? And then what is that identity in London's context? Like, it's a city with so many different people, but then they identify as being from England and from London and stuff. And I don't know, identity kind of becomes sort of irrelevant because a new identity forms. So I don't know if the argument is borders keep identities and stuff, because it changes really. So Kennedy saying private companies collecting DNA freaks me out. Paranoid leftist gang. I read something about Activision, the video game publisher. Like they have an incentive to use this program about when you're trying to conceive, and you like put like your sex positions in it, and they want you to share that data with them. Like when you're trying to conceive, like what positions you did and stuff. It's so weird. So Max saying 20,000 years. We all know that Earth is 6,000 years old. It's crazy people believe that, man. Thanks religion or thanks Christianity. I don't think Muslims believe that. Geist was born in Yugoslavia. Oh, so how long Yugoslavia? How long it hasn't been around? Is it 93 it ended or 90? 92? I'm not sure. There are a lot of Celtics in Boston. Yeah, of course. Evan saying I wouldn't be surprised if pharmaceutical companies were hiding the cure for cancer to make money off support treatment. Yeah, that's a. I don't know about that one. Like I could imagine it. At the same time, it could be pretty lucrative, couldn't it? Especially in a US style system. But yeah, I don't know about that one. Max saying Black Ops 4 is shy. I impulsively bought it this week and regret it. Yeah, my brother bought me that for my birthday. It was okay for a bit, but I don't really like it. I was watching some videos about Modern Warfare 2, and if they make Modern Warfare 4 more like that, I wouldn't be. I would be quite happy with that. Also, everyone in the chat right now, I just realised I have the equipment on my PlayStation that I can actually stream games to YouTube. Not that if you would want me to do it, but if I was doing a weekly stream while playing games, would that put anybody off? Like, I would play a game where I can pause it and stuff, and I can read the chat just as much, but just to try something different. But let me know if that would put you off watching it. Like, would you not want to watch this anymore? Like, even if I generally had the audio just as me talking, let me know in the chat if you wouldn't mind seeing that or doing that format sometimes. I totally understand if you wouldn't, but just because I realised I have a PlayStation camera for my for the PlayStation VR, so I can actually stream from the PlayStation with my face onto YouTube straight away. So it might be it's something fun to do. Andre saying everyone wants to be free to exploit someone or someone else. This repeats their history. Yeah, I guess that's true. But that's an argument used against socialism quite a lot, actually. That it's like human nature, isn't it, to exploit people. Max saying trust Musk. That should be Tesla's slogan. I don't trust him. He doesn't even, let his workers unionize, like implicitly threatening them to take away their stock options if they unionize. Extraterritorial corporations is among the worst ideas in human history. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I don't know who you're talking about here, Kennedy. I take that back. I trust him to always have the dumbest take on any given issue. And his GF Grimes. Evan saying, there's an incredibly strong history of London being the capital of England, and I think geography has a huge impact. This also shapes our borders. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but London has its own culture, doesn't it? But I'm saying, like, when you live somewhere like that, a new culture develops, and sort of the past culture is becoming relevant, especially as generations are born and don't have really ties to the place they originally were from. It's like any place, like America's a good example as well. Did you guy... What? Charles, what does that even mean? Did you guy have the one drop rule of ethnicity? I don't know. Max saying I could try the gaming thing, but I don't know how good the quality would be for streaming the PlayStation camera. Well, at the moment, I use my iPad right now, so I'm not sure how good the camera is. I'm going to test it out on my other channel, so it doesn't come up on here. Not that anyone would watch, but just see what it's like. So Brenda saying, my ex-boyfriend is English and he was in the British Army. He was in Ireland and a little boy spit on him. I think this was a past in England. Honestly, Brenda, I do not... that little boy, I think, was well within his rights to spit at your ex-boyfriend, because English Army or British Army killed more civilians in Northern Ireland than the IRA. and obviously like they did loads of war crimes and shit like that, and the whole history of Northern Ireland being like basically a British colony in Ireland and stuff, even after the South got independence. So if a little boy spat on him, I think that's the least of his problems, because a little boy could have shot him or something. But yeah, obviously Ireland treated England, or England has treated Ireland awfully for the not anymore, but 500 years essentially. So it still could be a big issue with the Brexit stuff, because basically one of the big problems at the moment is Northern Ireland and the South have a free border, because basically part of the Good Friday Agreement is to recognise the desire of the Irish people in general, in Northern Ireland as well, to one day have a united Ireland. That's the spirit of the Good Friday Agreement. But if Brexit comes into effect and Britain will leave the EU and Northern Ireland gets a hard border, that's putting an end to the promise that Northern Ireland will one day probably become part of a united Ireland. So what I'm saying is, like, that's the issue with Brexit. So if Brexit causes a hard border, that could open up all the trouble again, because that's what they're expecting, the Irish people, is that Northern Ireland will become part of the Republic of Ireland one day and be absorbed into it, because of the promises made in the Good Friday Agreement. And that's why the fighting stopped, because the IRA basically achieved their aim of getting, even though it take longer than they wanted, getting a united Ireland away from British rule. So Kennedy's saying, I'd watch gaming content. I'm always looking for channels like that. I don't have to worry about shouting racist there. Yeah, like PewDiePie. Yeah, I don't know what games I'd play. Like, if I could set up my Switch, I'd play Tetris 99. But I was thinking maybe something politically relevant, like Mafia 3, set in the 60s, like you're a black guy fighting like KKK and stuff. Mafia 3, Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Something chill where I can just like pause it and look away at the chat and stuff. I'll see that. Maybe next Sunday I'll have a look and try and set it up. So Evan's saying, I'm all for diverse societies and egalitarian societies, but you can't deny the importance of borders. Yet in general, but I think in a utopian socialist mindset, you don't want borders, do you? And that's why a lot of socialists who aren't from the UK think the EU is great, but a lot of socialists in the UK, see the EU no more than something like NAFTA. Oh, okay. Max saying it's one drop of African blood means you're considered black. Old racist way of looking at things. Is that part of the black legend? So basically, the black legend is when the Protestants used to, is basically the birth of modern racism. It's when the Protestants used to say Spanish had loads of Muslim and Jew blood in them, because they weren't obviously traditionally white, because they're quite tanned and with dark features. And at least always, that's how modern racism started, along with the slave trade as well. But yeah, it's obviously it's like all this stuff about blood and stuff is obviously super racist. So per Nissan saying longer than 500 years. Well, yeah, there was Norman settlements in Ireland and stuff, so it's longer. But the modern mistreatment, I think, comes during the Tudor period, when they sort of consolidated a lot of the stuff in Ireland under laws and stuff. What was the guy in charge of Ireland called back then? I forgot it had a title and stuff, in charge of the part of Ulster. So Max saying, I'm also for borders. I feel weird having to say that, but I don't think a one world government would be something to aim for. Well, the current state of the world, obviously not, but I think socialist is more like utopian thinking, isn't it? Aren't we all African? Yeah, that's a good point. That's just some racist shit, though, isn't it? It doesn't really make any sense. He was a nice person, but he understood why. Yeah, my best friend was in the British Army for ages, but I don't agree with the military in general, and I don't agree with the stuff. The English military hasn't really done anything good since World War II. Korea, you can make an argument based on how North Korea turned out, I guess. But, Greece, Egypt, Iraq, Yemen, all this fucking shit they do, obviously very bad. I don't agree with it. And Northern Ireland especially. Sorry, So So Andre's saying you do not have to play games on to stream on Twitch. I stream programming. Oh, okay, that's interesting. You stream conjecture rallies. Yeah, but Andre, I specifically was talking about on the PlayStation, you can stream directly to YouTube. So while I'm just talking right now here, you could stream a video game and have you on camera and have the game, that's what I was asking. In fact, I wasn't asking if it's what people wanted, but I was asking, would me doing that make you not want to watch the stream? Because I might just do it anyway, and if people were still tuning in to hear me speak and stuff, that'd be good. And that's I'd rather not put people off by playing video games and stuff if they just want to hear me speak. Holly, what's your favourite film about the Troubles? Because I haven't really watched them. There's that one with Brad Pitt. That's probably the only one I watched, but I don't think that's really about Ireland. There's that 71 as well, which I haven't seen, by Angelina Jolie. Right. What is the Brad Pitt film I'm talking about when he's in the IRA? Does anyone know what I'm... In the Name of the Father. That's the one with the trans person. I haven't watched the whole thing, though, In the Name of the Father. Obviously, it's a good film. Alright, let's go to the 90s and we're going to have a look at Brad Pitt's filmography. Alright. What film is it? I'm trying to think. So here's like an M16 and he's in an apartment. And he like starts shooting at the British soldiers and then he runs away. No, it's not Legends of the Fall. The Devil's Own? Oh, The Devil's Own, that's what it is. So, a police officer uncovers the real identity of his house guest, an IRA terrorist in hiding, and it's Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. Sounds pretty good, actually. I haven't watched the whole thing. The guy who directed All the President's Men. Oh, nice. And To Kill a Mockingbird. Probably is pretty good. Sorry. Yeah, that is what Twitch is for. Yeah, sorry. I just meant gaming on this YouTube channel and stuff. Yeah, The Name of the Father's Daniel Day-Lewis movie, yeah. Good movie, but I haven't seen it all. We did it in film studies and stuff. Okay, you guys talking about yourself and stuff. Wait, Charles, what are you saying about the Falklands War? It's not necessarily good. And what's funny about the Falklands War as well, in the 1970s, there was debates in Parliament, and Conservatives were saying we should not have the Falklands anymore, like we should just give it to Argentina because we don't need it and stuff. Like that was a debate in the 70s, before the Falklands War. Conservatives were saying that, but then obviously, like, for Thatcher, who was quite unpopular before it, such a good, like, propaganda victory to lead the country to this feel-good war. Loads of people died in it, though. Like, was it 400 people and stuff? That's more than British soldiers died in Iraq, so... Not the greatest thing. And not that this is for certain, but people think Richard Attenborough made Gandhi as a response to the Falklands War. So, we talk about egalitarian socialism is utopian socialism. Is it the same thing? Isn't socialism like inherently utopian though, just because what the end goal of socialism is communism, isn't it? So communism's like this utopia. Let me have a look. Egalitarian socialism. Oh, that's too complicated for me to look into now and research loads. But yeah, all the Northern Ireland stuff is messed up. So, Shaw was saying Tory socialism was a term used by historians, particularly of the early Fabian society, to describe the governing philosophy of the British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli. Alright, so I know about Disraeli. What is socialist about Disraeli? Is it his reforms helping the poor and stuff? Or... Because Benjamin Disraeli was a massive opportunist. He's like someone like a Boris Johnson. He had like had something to prove. Like, obviously, his name was actually like Israel, wasn't it? And he had to change it to get into politics. And he just did what he could to stay at the top. And obviously, Queen Victoria really loved him and stuff. Do you have an evidence for Conservatives giving away the Falklands? Yeah, I'm going to try and get it up. So, I'll type in Tory Party. I read a speech that someone gave, 1975, Falklands. I'll just type in. So there's a... When did I read it? I think I read it in class. It's annoying. I have so many things on my iBooks of all my readings from university. I wish I had them better organised because I just have to go through them and try and find some old stuff. Oh wait. Ah, damn it. Couldn't find it. But yeah, I think it is true. It's true. There are people in the Tory party who wanted to give away the Falklands. Wait, so 1970s, Britain wants to give away Falklands. My mate was stationed in the Falklands for 3 months. He said it was so boring, and he said people there were so weird. All right, here we go. Wait. Papers. I'm gonna have to look this up better later, but there were a lot of people who didn't even want to respond to the Falklands. What? Why is Britain in the wrong of the Falklands War? Alright, this is dumb. Maybe it's this one. Thatcher's papers reveal senior Tories are split over the Falklands War. So, Rational Voice, you do realise you'll compliment me every time you call me the Rational Voice. Alright, everyone, who remembers the Rational Voice? Vote in the chat. Should we ban him permanently, forever? Or should we tolerate his nonsense? Remember all these horrible jokes he was making last time? No, we shouldn't ban him, says Mac. So, yeah, Bill O'Reilly lied about that though, didn't he? That's a well-documented lie. Kenny saying ban, ban, ban. Max saying if he donates another dollar, he can stay. Evan, yeah, Evan, I don't disagree with it. I'm not really saying my opinion on it, because obviously the people that, Argentina have never actually been there. I think there's never even been Argentine people living there for a significant period of time. Shoal saying ban. Guy saying let him in here, YouTube's Inferno. Evan saying no ban. I donated $2 to you. Probation. 24 jokes. They're really awful jokes. He was saying really bad shit. But trying to play it off as being edgy and stuff. I don't know if anyone remembers exactly what he was saying. Why not make him a moderator? Just for a bit of fun. Alright. Trying to find this Britain thing. Why is Britain in the wrong? That's not right. British. Surprise Thatcher. I'm thinking maybe this article about how the Falklands invasion surprised Margaret Thatcher. Come on. Give me what I want. Story. It's quite a long article, sorry. Come on. Can't find it. Evan saying about the Falklands. It was just a way for the nationalist government to try and achieve some pride in response to poor economic conditions. By the way, no ban. Yeah, I guess, but it's just, it was good to rally everyone around, wasn't it? And it made us so popular, around the world, standing up to, because obviously Argentina was fascist back then as well. So, yeah, Rational Voice, tell everyone your joke, and then we'll decide. Yeah, he was pretending to be a Biden fan, but he's saying more stuff. So Holly's saying, what's your opinion on British Prime Ministers apologising for past actions and atrocities? It's just a nice gesture, really, isn't it? Was it David Cameron? Did he apologise for Amritsar, or did he apologise for the second Amritsar when Indira Gandhi was assassinated? and the Indian police just let Hindus like riot and kill loads of Sikhs because her Sikh bodyguards killed her. I think it was the first one, but it's just a nice thing to apologise for, isn't it? Like you might as well. Like what harm can it do? Like it's just better improving relations. You wish everyone would do it a bit more. Like Germany's kind of been doing apologising by being bearing the brunt of a lot of the EU stuff, like paying a lot of these bailouts and stuff, because obviously it destroyed Europe, Germany, so it's kind of like still paying for that through the EU. But yeah, they should apologise for it, but a lot of Tory leaders and Tory governments wouldn't want to do it. So Andre's saying, got to play nice to the Brits, they don't have the same default to free speech like Americans. Yeah, we spoke about this before, Andre, on the stream. Like, I'm saying, I prefer the free speech laws here in general. If some guy screaming "kill the Jews" with his dog, getting a fine is the price you have to pay for not having Nazis running around Charlottesville with handguns and AR-15s. Something I am prepared to pay for, like having a bit less free speech. But I know people like Mac disagree with me there. Guy Stars born 1982. Oh, okay. You're one of the older ones in the chat. Chol, I was born in 1998. So you're similar age to me. Evan was born in 2002. So you're the same age as my little sister, which is weird. He's asking for it. Oh, yeah. People, should we ban Rational Voice? Wait, Holly, if you're still watching, you can be the deciding vote. Holly could be like the vice president in Congress. Oh, okay, Andre's saying he doesn't say it's a bad thing. Absolute rights are silly, a sign of shallow thinking. Oh, Mac was born in 2009. He's only 10, but he's super intelligent for his age. Evan, Tommy Robinson should be in jail just for like the danger he causes and like the mobs and stuff he goes around with, like all this violence he does. Kennedy saying she's shaking her boots at the triggering National Voice. James, 1980, I turn 39 in 10 days. How are you feeling about that? I just don't want to get old, man. I'm feeling old now. Kennedy, same year as me, 1995. Sister was born 92, and his brother was born 2008. Also, quite a big age range in the family. James, you're feeling old. Do you feel like an adult yet, James? In 10 days. 1976, I'm old. That is old. You're the same age as Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's 76 or 79. My mum was born in 1973. Palestine could be your mum. Yeah, crazy. 1997 you're born. Okay, we're a similar age then. My brother's born in 1997, my little brother, and one of my friends born in 1997 from my second uni. A lot of old people here. Yeah. So James, no, Panasion's the oldest. Wait, I'm trying to work at the age. You're 43. Is that right? 76, 43. Generation Z, Generation Z, 42. Wait, why am I going crazy? 42, 42, 43, yeah. Generation Z would be me, Chol, Evan, Kennedy, and Mac. I think me and Kennedy just qualify for Generation Z because we're 95. I think that's like the border. Like we're right between millennial and Gen Z. 43 in June. Do you feel old? Is 43 feel old? I'm just dreading getting old so bad, man. I'm 37. Guys is 37. Yeah, we're like right in between. I misremember what about you. No, I think this Gen Z starts in 95. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're all millennials. We're all not millennials. Mac is Gen Z, just like me and Kennedy, and Holly as well, if Holly's still here. Yeah, like it's weird, isn't it? Like I remember like listening to tapes. I remember watching VHS tapes and like recording stuff on the VHS tapes. Like having really shit old TVs before HDMI cables and HD. Like remember what else? Like the old game consoles like PlayStation One, um, Nintendo 64 and stuff. What else was weird when we were kids? I remember the golden age of soccer when I was like 5, 6, like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Figo, like all these sick players when I was a kid. Like obviously I've loved football my whole life, but that was like that Brazilian team 2002. Evan, you don't remember? I remember watching the World Cup at my school. Brazil versus Germany, the final with Ronaldo with that stupid triangle haircut. What a golden era, especially as a United fan. Sorry, my chat went up. So, do you guys remember 9/11? Yeah, I remember it, but not like super well. Because I think my parents said they didn't really want me to look at it and stuff. I remember 7/7 way better, but that was in 2005 when I was 10. Um, which is when the London Tube and buses were bombed and stuff. Yeah, I was in reception in 9/11. No, I was in year one in 9/11. Yeah, Andre, I don't remember life before the internet, but I remember life before Wi-Fi. Obviously, internet was a thing in 1995 to 2000 and stuff. Chol can't remember anything before 2003. My earliest memory is 1998 because my granddad died. I remember my mum crying and stuff. That's my earliest memory because it's like when you have something like shocking and stuff. I think it's like sticks in your mind. Uh, yeah, everyone born in the 90s, your phone was probably so crap. Like my sister's grown up with like having an iPhone since she was like 10 and stuff. But my phone was so bad. It was like 5 megabytes memory. You could have like one song. It was so bad. So for a song or however you say that, just turned 44. Do you feel old at 44? Uh, Jorge Luis saying 98. James saying mixtapes, downloading free music and burning CDs for girls I like. Good times. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how like it sort of stayed the same for a while, and then the internet just changed it all. Like, because what you're saying, like downloading free music, burning CDs, it's not a mixtapes and stuff. That's not something like that didn't happen in my lifetime and stuff. As like a child, I remember my mum especially doing stuff like that. Um, you know, it's weird like with the birth of the internet and Wi-Fi, it just changed everything. So, do you remember the Amanda Show? And Kennedy still watches it. So Max saying, I don't remember 9/11. I remember seeing the first Harry Potter movie in theaters like 2 months later. That impact you. Yeah, I remember first. I remember there was a massive rivalry at the time between the first Harry Potter and the first Lord of the Rings. Like there was this thing I remember watching. There was like two sets of fans on either side, and they're like arguing about it. It was weird, but yeah, I remember those times. First Harry Potter, first prequel Star Wars as well. I remember the pre-internet world. Yeah, that must have been weird. Evan, oh, you love United and your brother keeps you updated. Yeah, United is shit now, but I also support Brentford and they're playing their best since football since 1930, so it's okay. You turn your TV off in 1998 and never watched again. What do you do for fun? This dude is begging to get banned. Yeah, well, we will ban him. Um, you feel young or feel old? Early 2000s was the best. So Jorge, I was born in '88. My earliest memories from '94. No internet there. Early to mid '90s were awesome. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird like being born in the '90s but not really remembering it enough, like to have a strong feeling on it. Like I guess early 2000s were just like the '90s, weren't they? So Kennedy also saw the first Harry Potter. Yeah, '90s babies versus '80s babies. Being '80s might have been better, I guess. Perny Pernician says, I remember connecting to the world on the bulletin board services. What's that exactly? Is it like the phone lines or is it something else? Walkman, good old days. Yeah, I had a Walkman, like you put your tape in and stuff. I also had a Sony Walkman as a phone. BBS is ruled. If you haven't checked it out, BBS documentary is old but fascinating. All right, someone explain it to me though. James, I saw Gremlins in the theater as a 4-year-old. Gremlins are cute, but they're so horrible as well. Like, it's such a horrible concept. I remember I interviewed a guy directing a Lego game and had Gremlins in it. I was like, they're such a cute thing, but in theory, like, explain that to a kid is quite horrific. The only thing I remember about the 90s were like Nickelodeon cartoons. Yeah, Pokemon was something that's like late 90s, early 2000s. I used to love Pokemon as a kid, like 5-year-old when it first came on the TV. The original like first series. I was 10 when Obama got elected. Yeah, I was 12 when Obama got elected. I remember watching the news though when it happened. I used to love the news as like a 12, 19, 13-year-old, 14. I used to get up early to watch it because I love like, I know it's kind of weird. I love watching like the war in Afghanistan and stuff. And I have a really vivid memory of waking up early and seeing the Lebanon-Israeli war on the TV and stuff in 2006. I always loved war stuff when I was a kid. Yeah, 90s culture ended with 9/11. Yeah, I'd say that's a good assessment because 9/11 just changed everything, didn't it? Troll was only 2.5 and 9/11 so he didn't have one. Upco Raul, hi. Hello from Mexico. Hi, Raul. Thanks for joining the stream. Gremlins suck. In all the trolls, they feel an attention. Wait, time out. Bye-bye, Rational Voice. Yeah, a little time out. 300 seconds. That'll teach you, mate. Panician saying, BBS is a dial-up connection to another computer. You'd put together a collection of these computers that would communicate through a hub computer. This is webbed around the world. Sort of reminds me of, what's it called when you connect video game consoles together? LAN party. It's what it kind of reminds me of. That's interesting, though. Dial-up connection. Can't imagine that today. But I do remember life without, like, instant messenger. Like, I got Facebook in 2009. And, like, I still remember, like, texting, like, costing money to text and all that shit. And, like, ringing on the phone. I think my grandma also had, like, the old phone that you had to, like, spin the little wheel thing and stuff. Hello from Vienna. Hi, guys from Vienna. CITV and Pokemon, News Round and CBBC. Yeah, Evan, you can't relate to us, though. But I did watch those things, too. News Round. You're too kind. Ban Hammer's fallen. No, I didn't ban him yet. Remember High School Musical? Yeah, I remember that. I remember the hype for it before it came out. And the hype for the second one. Rotary phone. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Evan, I love doing LAN parties, my friend. HO14 games going on all night. What's HO14? I thought you were going to say Halo 2, Halo 1. That's the best LAN party. Remember you had to hit the like button like 4 times. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, of course. You had to. I was really good at texting though. I was really quick, and then in about when did I get my iPhone? 2011. I got my first iPhone 3. It was so good though having that. Changed my life. Hearts of Iron 4. Oh, okay. What's Hearts of Iron 4? Sounds like a strategy game. High School Musical is still full of bots. Yeah, I don't love it now, but obviously, like, it is like a cultural thing, isn't it? It's like our generation's Grease and stuff. Obviously, it is like a rip-off of Grease anyway. But yeah, it is obviously decent in its own way. But oh, okay, so yeah, strategy games sound like a strategy game. I've never been big on strategy games. My favorite strategy game were the old is like half strategy, half third-person shooter. So Ghost Recon. Brothers in Arms. Brothers in Arms was so good. I'm so pissed off, like, Gearbox. You're making, like, Borderlands 3. Make Brothers in Arms the sequel to Hell's Highway. I love that game so much. And the PS2 ones. Max saying Drake and Josh is still my shit on that now. But it's on Hulu. Drake and Josh is legit funny, though, still. Like, I watched some episodes and I think, like, compared to other kids' shows today, it's not cringy at all. It's actually, like, good stuff to watch. Remember Ned's The Classified School Survival Guide? Yeah, I remember that. I used to love that. It used to be on at like 6:30 a.m, so I'd get up early to watch it before secondary school. You have it. You have the game as well. Yeah, strategy games are just overwhelming for me. Halo Wars the best one I've played. Everybody hates Chris I never watched. But my friends loved it and stuff. In-Betweeners 2009. So Evan, you were that just fucks me up so bad. You were 7 when like the In-Betweeners came out. It's like my sister as well. Like my sister was in year 6 when me and my girlfriend Holly started going out. She's now in year 12. But obviously, like, I remember her in year 7, like, getting the bus with me, like, as a kid. And I feel like I haven't grown up much because I was 18 when she was in school with me. And now she's nearly 18, and I feel exactly the same. It's so weird. Younger relatives growing up. So, guys saying, did the UK agree? Why did the UK help the US after 9/11? Yeah, guys, I'm sure the UK did know the US funded the Mujahideen in the Soviet Union. I'm sure the UK helped them out with that, like in terms of intelligence. But in terms of 9/11, it was just it was a broad coalition that invaded Afghanistan to topple Mullah Omar and the Taliban for harboring Al Qaeda and shit. And even Bernie Sanders voted for the invasion of Afghanistan, I'm pretty sure. So I think it's the occupation of Afghanistan. Like, they should have gone in there, did what they had to do, and left or something. But, like, they made a coalition with these warlords who weren't anything better than the Taliban anyway. So, like, there's no point to it. And obviously the Northern Alliance, which was the warlord alliance that helped them, raping loads of women, war crimes and shit, like, should have gone in and got Bin Laden, and that should have been the end of it. Like, Taliban are bad, but look what's happened now. What's it? How many years? 2001? 18 years? Been there? By September, it's been 18 years. Your dad, like, I think this has actually happened. I know it was an Onion article as well, but people's dad have fought there, and their kids have fought there as well. That's crazy. Like, it's longer than Vietnam. Vietnam for US combat was 1965 to 1973. That's the main force US combat operations. Afghanistan was in 2001 to 2019. That is mental. Absolutely, like, insane how much money's been spent there. It's a joke of a war, really. And all the war crimes the US has covered up, especially in Afghanistan. Mac remembers being the only person in his class to vote for John Kerry in the mock election. It shows you had a good brain, though. Everyone voting for Bush. What the hell? Andre saying I was a right winger during Occupy Wall Street. Oh, interesting. What did you think of the protesters then? Kennedy saying I voted for Bush in my 4th grade mock election. I was so dumb until I was like 18. Yeah, I think in America as well, you're so conditioned in a certain way. Like, it's school's so politicized there already. And that with Gaddafi. Yeah, for example, Britain led the charge on Gaddafi. Like, we were heavily involved in that, David Cameron, and obviously it's such a bad mistake. Wait, is it over in Afghanistan? No, US troops are still in combat operations in Afghanistan. British troops don't fight there anymore, but there are British troops in Afghanistan still. But American troops are still fighting. I thought someone would, like, get a job. Yeah, I don't think that's a unique sentiment, though, like in a lot of America. Kennedy said, I told my parents I was a liberal when I was in 7th grade, and they said, no, you're not. Americans so weird about politics, man. Like, the UK's a bit different. It's a bit more like you're conditioned, but you don't, it's not about politics, it's about just, like, how society conditions you and stuff. Oh, sorry, hay fever. Man, these YouTube adverts are so cringy, man. I hope I don't have loads of bad ones in my video. Sorry. I voted for Obama in the 2012 mock election in 7th grade. 2012 election was when I super started paying really close attention to politics. I remember the Young Turks covering it. There's some really good videos of Cenk covering the Joe Biden, Paul Ryan debates and stuff about how many times Paul Ryan was, like, drinking water. And then with the Obama-Romney debates, Romney just agreeing with Obama and everything. So Cenk made it so funny. That's when I started watching the Young Turks, like, all the time. It's so good. Guys saying they led into the chopping block and they were best buddies with the Gaddafi, weren't they? They backed all those Arab socialist dictators. Charles saying I had classmates who voted for Romney. Why would anyone vote for Romney? Like, also he's Mormon, which is okay. Christian is just as weird as Mormon, but Mormon's a bit, stranger. You think Jesus is going to come back to America and stuff. Kennedy saying trying to wise up. I had it beaten out of me. I had to be able to vote in 2012. I would vote for Romney. Do you like your parents now, Kennedy? But this is saying I'm Canadian. The idea of anyone being in the American right is mind blowing. Yeah, isn't it? It's like GOP are like far right, in terms of like a broader political spectrum in terms of global politics, and they're literally insane, like batshit insane. And the thought of millions upon millions of Americans watching rich people screw them over with insane ideas who are not very intelligent and thinking, yeah, this is great. I'm going to come to these rallies. I'm going to support them so much. Crazy. No, not literally beaten. Okay. I'm just saying, I voted for Gary Johnson in 2012. Well, that's not the worst. Like, if you're sick of, like, corporate politicians. I remember watching Piers Morgan on CNN as a kid. Piers Morgan's trash, man. Evan saying, what do I think is more prevalent on YouTube? Right-wing content or left-wing content? Yeah, everyone knows the answer to that. Right-wing for sure. Right-wing dominate online because it's a fucking cesspool. YouTube, Reddit, Twitter. It's where all these people join together because they know their real opinions are trash and you can't really say them in public. I guess it's changing a bit now, but that's why they all congregate online. I think a lot of decent people aren't really bothered about this shit and they don't have to go looking for validation online. So you don't get massive communities of left-wing people in general. Like Young Turks, Jimmy Dore, David Pacman, they're quite significant and stuff, but they don't really compare to how dominant the right-wing are, which is frustrating, but I think it says more about the culture of the internet more than the culture of politics. Romney reminded me of Buzz Lightyear. Does anyone else get that vibe? What's the way he looks and the voice? Yeah, Evan, hopefully, because you're young and your friends are probably the same age, they'll grow out of it. But a lot of people, like, what's funny about Britain, you can literally look at someone, especially like these, like, like chavvy people, and you're like, I know everything about you. I know how you vote. I know what you like to watch on TV. I know what you talk about with your mates. I know like like you love football. I know you love this, and I know that you're a racist. Like you can have like one talk with someone or just hear someone say one word in England, and you know everything about them. And it's depressing how many people are so similar in England, like in terms of like Brexit, Tommy Robinson, football, Only Way is Essex, all this shit they watch on TV, like having a curry and some shit like that, drinking tea all the time. Like, people are so generic in this country, and it's so depressing. You can just, there's not a lot of individuality. I guess it goes to America as well. So, Cho asking, how old was I during the school riots in 2011? So I was in year 10, I was 15. It was pretty scary though. Like, I know people who got arrested. I knew someone who went to prison for the riots and stuff in the year above me. And some people I know actually participated in them. It was it was eerie. Like I remember coming home. I think I've been around like my girlfriend's house, like my first girlfriend. I was coming home at like 10. My parents wanted me home, and the streets were just so empty, and it was so like eerie out. It was weird. Obviously, like the genuine concerns of the riot got hijacked by fucking scumbags, isn't it? So I do remember it very well. So Max saying my aunt has turned into an all-out Trump tard, but the Dave Rubin's train where she acts like she's talking about ideas and sometimes she doesn't take sides. The thing is, any legit argument for side of Trump, like say like he's anti-interventionist or something like that, or he's anti-interventionist, he's unconventional, he's proved everybody wrong by literally being the reincarnation of George Bush Jr., but worse. Like everyone he appoints in his administration, all the actions he takes are very similar to what George Bush would have done. And the fact that people delude him themselves and think he's anything different than that, because I could see the arguments before he was elected about why potentially you would want someone like this, right? Even though he's so stupid, why would you trust someone like this? Whatever. I could understand the argument of anti-interventionism and stuff if that was what you wanted to base your whole vote on. But at the same time, how do they not realise now he's no different to the rest of the Republicans? He's so stupid, he's just been manipulated into doing what they want. So, where was I doing the tea party? What does that mean? You mean a tea party in America? Max saying some of it spills into your mum, and that pisses you off. Yeah, it's annoying when family members have an influence. Not that's a bad thing, but my mum's like influenced by my dad loads. But at least my dad like believes decent things. So yeah, Andre, that's a great point. Americans are conditioned to think that if they work hard enough, there will be rich people in charge. That's the American dream right there, isn't it? Like if you work hard enough, you become president, you become rich and stuff. But that's not the case. But it's a good myth to sell people, so they'll never they'll be docile and they'll never revolt against your control. Yeah, Evan, their opinions are trash and look at validation. Yeah, it's true. Left YouTubers are getting more and more popular. Yeah, they are, which is good. But at the same time, I still think in comparison, yeah, what right wing reactionaries, yeah, it is worrisome, but I don't know, people are fucking idiots. Was he actually? Mitt Romney's dad was a civil rights hero. I didn't know that. Pull your bootstraps up until you have no more straps. Yeah, I love London. I like it too, to an extent. Not the London riots, though. And some places are really shit. Where was I during the financial crisis? Well, I was 12 years old, 13 years old, 'cause it cost 2 years. I remember watching it on TV, like watching a BBC report on it, and how, how fucked we were and stuff. I remember it happening, but, you know, I don't think it affected my family too much, which is good, but obviously did affect loads of people. Sorry. Evan's saying, the thing about the left on YouTube is that I see all they have to see. Oh, wait. They all seem to have the same sub count apart from TYT, which just means the same people watching Pac-Man secular majority. Yeah, that's true. Wait, what about me? Why don't I have the same sub count? But yeah, I guess it is a small audience, isn't it? And they all focus on one thing. But there is like BreadTube, which is like more left. They're like more mainstream, aren't they? Well, like that ContraPoints person has like nearly 1 million subs. Sorry. Yeah, Matt, that happens all the time. Like some of the people who vote for these people, support these people, it's ridiculous. Like every policy they'll push will hurt you, but you're so conditioned by certain factors, or you're so ignorant, you'll somehow believe they care about you. Like, does anyone really think Trump has ever cared about anyone but himself in his whole life? Bye bye, rational voice. Another time out for you. Yeah, American Dream is a myth. I made a video on it a couple of weeks ago. Max saying the civil right to marry multiple women. Honestly, I don't care about that shit with Mormonism, but the justification is so ridiculous. Like God told Adam Smith that he could marry his maid or something. Remember Gamergate? I don't remember that too much. I don't really pay attention to it. Just like that stuff about Anita Sarkeesian. Kennedy said she was a popular Tumblr SJW during Gamergate. Oh, you changed a lot then. George Romney was a liberal Republican. USA has no classic left movement. Yeah, I guess that's true. Evan saying you'll get there, Kavanaugh, just waiting for that viral video, and you'll be on 550k like the other left wing YouTubers. Yeah, my views have kind of been. I don't know. Someone's been saying the views have been bad lately. Not just for me, but on loads of channels. So, for example, I was looking at my videos today, and my engagement is better. Like I've got more comments and more likes, but my views are down a lot, which suggests to me I'm not being recommended in the algorithm. So, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I had a British take on why the American dream is like a myth, whatever. That got 500 views, right? 74 likes, 40 comments. My video yesterday about third party got 372 views, but 78 likes and 58 comments. So way better engagement, monetized as well. You'd imagine that would do better, but it didn't. And that happens a lot lately because there's other videos, like I made a Beto video, British take on the Second Amendment, which has less engagement than my other videos, but the views are better. So I don't really understand what's going on at the moment. Someone said the algorithm's messing up where people aren't being recommended, and I saw another channel where their views went down from like 300k to like 50k, just like, but nothing else had changed. So it's quite annoying because I want to get to 6k bad. I need to break another milestone, but I got 130 subs left to get there. Banhammered, yeah, I got him. So Andre saying Trump probably cared about his dad. His whole life seems to be him trying to be like his dad. He failed it, and the rest are paying the price. Yeah, his dad must have been so disappointed in him. He's such a fucking disappointment in terms of how bad of a businessman he was. So Mormonism is ridiculous. Yeah, Mormonism is ridiculous, but so is Christianity, Islam, all this stuff. It's all ridiculous, in my opinion. Mormonism just takes it a step further, but, it's pretty ridiculous anyway. So, Troll asking, when did you guys first vote? My first vote was in 2015, so I got to vote 2015, 2016 for the EU referendum, 2017 for another general election. So I've been quite lucky, actually. I've voted in a lot of elections. Some people don't get to do it so much. So, look, this is Rational Voice. Look, Lord Emperor Trump, I know it's a rational voice. Look, record job creation and success on the Trump. The left will deflect any way they can. Sad. I know it's a rational voice on another account. Let's just... I was too old, too young to vote. 2016. You voted in 2018 midterms. Oh, okay. Yeah, I turned 18 in 2013, so November 2013. Yeah, that's good. My first vote was for Bernie in the primary. That's good. The first vote. Kennedy saying, imagine spamming a YouTube chat with 20 viewers. How sad. Hey, what are you trying to say about me? No, I'm joking. Yeah, it is such stupid cry for attention. Go troll the bigger channels. Guys saying, if you work hard and sell your soul, you will achieve everything. Trump, small loan, $2 million. Yeah. And like, was he inherited only $500 million from his dad and didn't pay any tax on it? Yeah, everyone's got some nice... Mac also had his first vote for Bernie. That's good. Wait, where's this Trump guy? Let's ban this guy. Bang. Oh, I got him. Will your sister vote in the next general election? We're not sure. She's not 18 until February. So we'll see when the next general election is. Hopefully soon. Hopefully before Brexit. But I don't think Tories are dumb enough to call it because they know they get crushed. Which I would love to see. But you know what the Tories are like. They all stay together when power's on the line. But I do like it when they backstab each other. Like when they backstabbed Margaret Thatcher and got rid of her. So, wait. I banned this guy. Shit. Did I ban the wrong person? Oh, no, I didn't. Alright. I removed this comment. Oh, okay. By Lord... Wait, let me check out his channel. Alright, so there's one video. That's 1 second. Rational Voice, you're so pathetic with your Trump account. I'm going to get you now. Hey. Oh yeah, Max 10, I forgot about that. Charles saying the Republican Party used to be like the Tory Party. Well, I think they're fundamentally different anyway, because Tories based on the landed aristocracy and the rich. Like, that's literally where they come from. And, like, they're literally manufactured from Eton, Cambridge, all this shit and stuff. So, very different to Republicans, who, America's a bit different with the wealth, isn't it? Like, you have your sort of landed aristocracy in terms of the plantation owners and shit, but it's a lot different from the politicians who make up the Tory party. Also, Republican politicians are not educated as well as the Tory politicians who go to like the best schools in the world. Republicans are some of the dumbest politicians I've ever seen. So Eshka saying, I'm almost 3 years older than Trump. The first time I saw him in the news when I was 35, I didn't like how he was. He talked like he thought he was more important than other people. Yeah, because he's a massive, massive narcissist. So Trump has always been a garbage person. I didn't know who Trump was until 2015 when he started running for president. No, I didn't know he was until 2013 when Obama made that joke about him at the Correspondents' Dinner. That's the first time I found out who Trump was. Oh, birtherism as well. That's when I found out he was. Obviously, he's in Home Alone, American Psycho, things like that. But I wasn't aware who he was. So Geist says he likes Bernie, but he doesn't understand European socialism. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really affect him as much in his role at the moment, though. He doesn't really need to understand it, because he's just trying to get the basic things through America, isn't he? He's not trying to make it a socialist country. Yeah, Andre saying the corporate Dem party is probably a lot... I said this earlier in the stream. Democrats, nearly all of them would be in the Tory party, without exception. Well, some exception. Ilhan Omar, AOC, a couple of others like that. Bernie as well. And Warren. Well, Kennedy, he talked a lot about Fidel Castro and stuff, didn't he? Like how much that inspired him. Yeah, I guess he could change it, but he's still popular enough while saying he's a socialist, which is interesting. Did I go to Eton? No way. What did he take me for? Some of my friends went to Cambridge, but no one to Eton. Who's my favourite Harry Potter character? Snape. I guess yours is Dumbledore because Dumbledore is your thing. And it's a rational voice, and he's back again, and you're getting another time out. I'm not taking any rational voice spam accounts. So Max saying, I agree. I wish he wouldn't say socialist because he isn't one. I think he is one, but because of American politics, he's never going to admit he is one. Watch some of his old interviews in 1981, where he's actually saying he is a socialist and stuff. Even people like Ben Shapiro say no, he isn't socialist yet. Can he say one time he called Nina Turner his comrade, and I got really in my feelings about that. So Bernie is trying Bismarck state socialism. Yeah, but I think some of the things Bernie wants just common sense really as well. Like, you can, in a socialist context, you can understand like what people want and stuff, but like a universal healthcare system is pretty standard. I thought Obama was a socialist. By rational voice. Did I go to the London School of Economics? No. I went to University of Southampton, which is good for history, and then I went to Royal Holloway, University of London for my masters, which is good for politics. It's not Royal Holloway is, in my opinion, it's a step down from University of Southampton. University of Southampton is like top 15 for the subjects I wanted to do, but and it's Russell Group as well, which is like a collection of like the best unis after Oxbridge. But yeah, Royal Holloway was nice though. I like the makeup, like loads of foreign students, like loads of American students as well, which was interesting. So I liked speaking to them and like interacting with other people. Southampton was all mostly English people, but from like the west, like weird places like Devon and Cornwall, and they were just weird, man. I prefer people from London anyway. Did I go to Harrow? No, I went to Harrow on Friday night though to see my friend. Max saying, when Nina gave a shout out to the atheist in the intro one time, I was surprised people in politics never mentioned atheist in a positive way. Yeah, atheist is a really weird thing in American politics, isn't it? Never mentioned. I think I was at the Brooklyn launch for Bernie's campaign. So Sylvia saying, how about having an occasional online conversation with an older person who's been politically active for decades to provide a little more depth? Not me. Yeah, if there's any older people want to get into contact, I wouldn't mind, obviously. Sylvia also saying, I enjoy listening to the younger perspective, but just that perspective I've noticed has some limitations. Bernie isn't a socialist, New Deal Democrat. The thing is, I think Bernie is a socialist personally. Like, he is personally one, but in terms of American politics, he can't be one or act like one. I think it's the main thing. So he has to be someone more like an FDR rather than a proper socialist like Jeremy Corbyn or something. Yeah, okay. Guys are saying people need to learn the difference between Marxian and Engelian socialism and early social movements that had nothing to do with Marx and Engels. Yeah, okay. Bill Nye. Okay, is this rational voice again? Let me check. Well, let's say you're not the rational voice for 1 second. Do I think Islam is an immoral religion? I think all religions are immoral, and Islam fits into that as well. But I don't think something like Islam's immoral and Christianity is moral. I hate people like that. Such a anyone who says another religion is immoral but theirs isn't, it is lying and deluded. It's so stupid to say that. If Islam is immoral, Christianity is immoral, they're all based on the same thing. Abrahamic religions all have the same roots, all based on the same stories, all as violent as one another. Who's the rational voice? It's Bill Nye. If you're not the rational voice, I'm sorry, but I'm skeptical because you're the fourth account that's joined the chat that has no subscribers and no videos, and really has no channel history. And the Rational Voice, I agree with you, Rational Voice has been like spamming the comments with loads of different accounts, so that's why I thought you might be him. But if you're not, then I'm sure we won't have a problem, because Rational Voice can't help himself but misbehave in the chat. Alright, Bill Nye, sorry if you're not actually the Rational Voice. Because he had like different accounts, like he had a Trump account and he had like an Albus Dumbledore account. So I thought you might have been his other account with Bill Nye. So sorry, I'm just reading the comments. You should have went to Ivy League. Yeah, but Joel, I'm not smart enough. Because in the UK, if you want to go to like a top uni, if you want to go to Oxford or Cambridge, you need to get straight A's in all the tests that matters. I've never been like great at a lot of subjects. I've never been amazing at maths or French. I couldn't get like an A in French, so no chance to me. It's obviously not a big deal, to be honest. It would have been cool, but I might not have even enjoyed it because it's a lot of hard work at Oxford and Cambridge. So, guys saying, what religion has morals? I grew up in Orthodox Islamic circles and both have nothing to offer. Yeah, exactly. I'd say no religions are morals. And the notion that, that Ben Shapiro and all these guys talk about the Judeo-Christian morals that we found a society on is complete rubbish. So here's my video on that. I made it like a year ago. I just made a video about how America isn't based on Judeo-Christian morals in that video. So Andre saying, most Americans want the policies Bernie proposes, but they hear socialist and the years of socialism equals communism equals bad, immediately hits the brain, nothing further is heard. Yeah, I don't understand how you can be have such a crazy reaction to it. Do you know what I mean? And just like thinking something that sounds good to you just because you think it's socialist is bad. It's crazy how successfully the elite in America conditioned working class people to fear something that would help them a lot. Yeah, Judeo-Christian is an oxymoron anyway. Yeah, well, in the video I just talk about how Judeo was added on after the founding of Israel, basically as part of the West and stuff. 34 views. I drop a like cost. The views on that video are good actually. There's a guy called Rationality Rules who based one of his videos on it. Like he put a comment on the video. But Michelle's saying, I don't get why Democrats defend Biden, because Biden is just like most of the Democrats. They're all right-wingers, they're all corporate hacks, well, for the most part. Biden just represents them, and they think because he was buddies with Obama and he's his vice president, because that's the thing, Biden being Obama's vice president was the highlight of Biden's career, because Biden wasn't in the driving seat of his own politics, because his politics and his political decisions have been horrible up until he was made vice president of a super popular president who's so really popular today. That's the only reason Biden is relevant. If Obama didn't make him vice president, Biden would be irrelevant and he wouldn't be running because no one would care. Yeah, Kennedy, good point. We can't be Judeo-Christian when we literally turned away Jewish refugees during the Holocaust. Yeah, exactly. And in my thing, I just point out, it's just Israel was founded as US allies, so they stuck Judeo-Christian, and Ben Shapiro is a Jew as well, so obviously has an interest to do that as well. Like make it about Jews and Christians. Yeah, guys, reiterating Kennedy's point, USA refused to take Jewish refugees. Yeah, Anne Frank and her family turned back. Is one of them. List 3 of the worst things about Biden. I don't know specifically. Sexual predator is one. Voted for Iraq. Is friends of war criminals. Helped create the Patriot Act. There you go. There's a couple. Anita Hill. Yeah, pretty much all that shit. Just an awful politician. Literally so bad. Yeah, Michelle, Ben Shapiro, you're an anti-Semite if you disagree with me in Israel. Yeah, exactly. And also he wrote all this racist shit about Arabs, but that's okay. So Eshka saying, to me, quoting Bernie Sanders, to me, democratic socialism means democracy. It means creating a government that represents all of us, not just the wealthiest people in the country. Yeah, that's a good quote. I don't know if, I guess he does believe in democracy and all this stuff, but, I think he's confined by the American political landscape. So Andre saying, it is tied up in a lot. Americans have been lied to forever. Your recent video on Vietnam is a great example. Most Americans think the war is about spreading democracy and fighting evil communism. Yeah, Andre, I've been thinking about the Vietnam stuff a lot, and you're right. Like, America's so good at whitewashing all these things. Like, I think the Vietnam War should be remembered on par with like stuff the Nazis did. Like, I genuinely think that. Like, when you read about it, like the unfiltered truth about it, it's just so awful. And what did these people do to America? Like, they didn't, like, how can you use so much force against a people that have never threatened America, never attacked America? All they ever wanted, like Ho Chi Minh was promised by America, independence of Vietnam from the colonialism, right? That's what they wanted. So you've got to take out napalm, Agent Orange, kill millions of Vietnamese civilians for what? But based on some ridiculous reading of the domino theory that if Vietnam becomes communist, then of course every other country in the area will become communist, and Vietnam will be best mates with the Soviet Union, and all of them. Apart from Vietnam went to war with Laos, Cambodia, and China 4 years after the end of the Vietnam War, proving how ridiculous that theory is. And then the Soviet Union and China absolutely hated each other after 1960. So war, like things like the way America was honoring John McCain. His dad was in charge of like the Navy in that point and stuff. He volunteered for that stuff. He volunteered to bomb civilians. Yeah, he was tortured and he was a bit heroic, in his capture. But at the same time, he signed up for that. He signed up to essentially commit war crimes. And people don't like talking bad about veterans and shit. But it's so awful when you read about it. Like, you can't just, and it shows, like, I don't know how many of you know about Orientalism. It's quite mainstream in political science. Basically, knowledge, like power and knowledge. So basically, because the Vietnamese are relatively powerless in terms of global media and access to spread their message, and America dominates it. The thing that we're fed is America's version of the war, and we don't get to see Vietnam's side because as Orientalism states, it's the powerful countries that define what the truth is. Like back in the day, Britain defined the truth of what India and Egypt were like for people because they had a racist view and they just spread that back home because they had the power to spread their knowledge, where Vietnam doesn't. So they can't talk about all these things, which is just so awful when you read about them. It's upsetting, and it's just when you read something like Tim O'Brien talking about killing civilians. Like he said, the only people he saw, the only Vietnamese he ever killed that he saw were three farmers running away from a village, and him and two other guys shot them because they thought they Viet Cong. Went up to them and saw they're just farmers, and he said that's the only person I ever saw that killed in Vietnam. But then they talked later about what's the only person he shot in battle with three farmers, and then he talks about another woman just killing civilians in this village, and then set fire to all the things because their friend had stepped on a mine and stuff, and it's just so awful. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I don't like this criticism people use against Donald Trump, and this is one area I'll defend him, that you got out of Vietnam. Yeah, well, I know the thing is it's because he's privileged and stuff. And so he got out of Vietnam, he's privileged, and all these young men, especially young black men, had to go fight in Vietnam and die. But at the same time, I don't blame people like him and Bill Clinton for not going. Why the fuck would you want to go fight in that war for absolute bullshit reasons and stuff? I don't blame them at all for not going. And they're lucky enough that they didn't have to go. Sorry, I'll read some comments now. Plagiarising Neil Kinnock has it all. That's about Joe Biden. Yeah, Vietnam War is one big war crime, says Kennedy. Evan saying, propaganda is democracy, what a gun to the head is in a totalitarian state. Shows what both ideologies do to maintain control and order. Superdog Logan saying, the Vietnam War was basically the US upholding white supremacy established by the French. Yeah, exactly. Panisian saying, Americans are the absolute masters of propaganda, and unfortunately their citizenry have brought it hook, line, and sinker. Yeah, I agree with that totally. Fox News, like, they make fun of North Korea. Fox News is literally crazy North Korea state propaganda, which half the country eat up. Charles saying, Dick Cheney got 4 deferments for Vietnam. Honestly, don't blame him. Alex saying, I know you guys acquired universal healthcare in 48. What systems do you have prior to that? Alex, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'd imagine it's just pretty standard, like you have to pay for it and stuff, but I'm not too sure. That's something I need to research a bit better. Like, in my head, and probably what it was generally like, you can't get healthcare if you don't have the funds. So yeah, Panacea on Edward Said, yeah, Orientalism by Edward Said. Guys saying, you see how most Americans treat their vets if they open their mouth. Yeah, exactly. Call them un-American traitors. Yeah, Charles saying Clinton, Bush, and Trump all avoided the Vietnam draft. I don't honestly blame them. Andre saying it plays into the sunk cost bias. Americans are too invested in our vision of ourselves, of being the heroes of the world. Yeah, exactly. Even these films like Platoon and Apocalypse Now, which are critical of the war, it still pretty much ignores the Vietnamese. Like, I know you see some war crimes against them and stuff, but at the same time, it doesn't. I'd like to see a film from the Vietnamese perspective, like a really in detailed one, because it's just been totally ignored. So Max saying real men slaughter Eastern Asian villagers. Yeah, exactly. Was World War II necessary? Yeah, that's one thing I would agree with. But I've talked about in the past about the US war against Japan was part of a larger conflict between Japan and the US and China that had been going on since the 1840s, and it probably would have happened anyway without the Nazi Germany. So Evan saying the USSR got the first man dog into space, and Sputnik. Yeah, Sputnik was 1957, the first satellite. That's what I remember. But what's remembered is the US got us to the moon first. Yeah, whoever owns the press owns the truth. Yeah, exactly. USSR, Sputnik, 1957. Yuri Gagarin, is that 1961? First man in space. I bet you the proportion of the world population that know Neil Armstrong compared to Yuri Gagarin is probably pretty staggering. So Alex saying, I'm pretty sure he would have dodged World War One and World War Two as well. I wouldn't begrudge anyone for dodging World War One, but a lot of people wouldn't because people were so brainwashed back then. But World War Two, yeah, I guess that's bad. Yeah, Eshka, you commented on my video. Eshka's brother fought in Vietnam, and he says here, my brother was in Vietnam. He heard 5 US soldiers plan to kill a prostitute. Probably way worse. Well, not probably way worse shit happened than that, like raping kids and stuff. Panisian saying it's important to point out they dodged about the other politicians, to point out the flaws in why the poor kids go to that. Yeah, that's the best point about it, I guess. But I've seen Cenk Uygur talking about Trump's a coward for not going to Vietnam, and I don't really like that because lots of people didn't go to Vietnam based on their principles. I don't think you're a coward for not going to war. You don't want to go die for the interests of rich men. You don't want to go kill like some of the poorest people on the planet for capitalism. I got no problem with people not doing that. And I wouldn't call anyone a coward for not going. The 23 to 33 time was amazing liberal point in history. What do you mean? Do you mean in terms of like socialism and stuff? No, Eshka isn't the rational voice, Michelle. When my brother was in Vietnam. Okay, Charles saying the Korean War was no different to Vietnam. It was a bit different because the Vietnam War, in terms of the American involvement, was a southern insurgency against the military government in South Vietnam and the US, and then it turned into a more conventional war in the 70s between the North and the South, whereas the Korean War was just the North versus the South and the UN, and then China got involved later. Was the French and Indian War necessary? Do you mean the 1767 war? Is that that's called the Indian War, isn't it, as well? I think we call it something different here. 7 Years War is what we call it. Unless you're talking about something else. So Superdog Logan saying, most Vietnam veterans were just dumped aside after the war ended. I remember seeing a lot of homeless, mentally unstable vets through the 80s and 90s. And yeah, obviously it wasn't helped by the culture, like films like Taxi Driver and other films like where the Vietnam veteran was the baddie. But yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, Eshka, don't worry. The rational voice is some troll guy. It's not you. So guys saying USSR managed in 2 decades to become the second world power from monarchy, feudal, peasant society, civil war, defending themselves against invader, beating Germany. Yeah, it is pretty amazing that I guess what totalitarianism can achieve sometimes, like in terms of the Soviet Union getting, transitioning from a backward European monarchy to such a powerful country. It is pretty crazy. So Max saying attacking Trump for avoiding Vietnam is a stupid attack. Yeah, it is stupid. Andre saying no one should ever be forced to fight. If a war is just, it should have enough volunteers to support it. Yeah, exactly. They had to change it to a volunteer model after the war, didn't they? Nixon changed it. Pernician saying if that was Trump's position, I would support him on that. He's not a dove though. Yeah, exactly. Trump's position is like, I couldn't go to Vietnam because I was ill, and my own personal Vietnam was having sex with like not getting an STI in the 60s, shit like that. He's obviously not being like I didn't go because of my principles. Evan saying the soldiers just did what they said, but millions died. There's a huge shift in power. So the soldiers did what they said, what people told them to, but because millions died, which is true, it's in the past. Evan, what are you talking about specifically? Are you talking about Vietnam? Like the US involvement in Vietnam? Alex saying, this warmonger in the US is one area where I am for Tulsi over Bernie because I have a passion to end attempting regime change. Yeah, I think Bernie's pretty good at it as well, but I guess you're talking about the Venezuela stuff. People criticising him on. So Kennedy saying, even some people who hate Trump still think he's anti-interventionist, even with what he's doing in Venezuela. Yeah, Trump isn't anti-interventionist, no way. Charles saying, the World War II generation had it worse than all of us. Yeah, but the post-World War II generation had it better than all of us. Well, if you were white. Superdog Logan saying, Trump dodging Vietnam is probably the only thing I agree with him with. Yeah, exactly. They faced a Great Depression in World War II. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But Kennedy saying, we face a Great Recession, climate disaster, and the resurgence of global fascism, yeah. And Islamic terrorism. Not saying that's really as bad and stuff, but it's part of it. But, yeah, people like Biden telling us to stop whining. Fuck him, man. Just so stupid. So, Max saying, Joe Rogan endorsed Tulsi. I think that's good, but it's weird considering he shit-talked Bernie and AOC in the past. Maybe because she came on his podcast. When did he endorse her? Michelle saying, how do you make people take you seriously in politics if you're just 9 years old? Well, are you 9 years old? Wait. Rational Voice is back. But it's Michelle. And you called someone else Rational Voice. Oh, causing trouble. I've got to get rid of you. Why do you have so many accounts? Why do you have so many accounts? What, you got nothing better to do? Wait, it's not letting me. Alright, there we go. Evan, are you talking about World War One now? In terms of Britain? What are you talking about? Andre saying, the new model for war volunteers in the US only works because it preys upon poor people, serving the military only option. Yeah, exactly. They prey on the poor people, say, college, healthcare, come get it in the military, we'll send you off to Iraq and Afghanistan, where you can just see like awful things that will scar you for life, and maybe die in some Central Asian backwater where no one really wants you there. So guys saying, I remember when the war started in my country, Yugoslavia, I lost a lot of my childhood friends and friends from my mother. Most know war from history, but live... Yeah, what was it like then? What country do you live in that was part of Yugoslavia? Islamic terrorism is just right-wing terrorism. Yeah, I guess it's born out of... But I guess the difference to Islamic terrorism is just you point out where it's born from, I guess, in terms of, like, political Islam from Saudi Arabia, the Gulf War, where the US stationed troops in Saudi Arabia was a big thing for them. Obviously, the Iranian Revolution and the war in Afghanistan helped inspire all this stuff as well. So Charles saying, you should be an MP. I wouldn't mind, but I think I could never get elected, to be honest. Would be pretty cool, though. Andre saying, Joe had Tulsi on in September, told her to run. I like Tulsi, but she didn't qualify for the job. Yeah, that's fair enough. I remember I watched a podcast of them two. I don't know, maybe because I don't follow her enough. I don't really know what she stands for in terms of a lot of social policies. Okay, World War One. So you think people went and fought in World War One because it was different back then, and they just did it because they were just brainwashed or something? I mean, like, obviously, I got massive respect for the people who didn't go because it was so hard to not go, like all the objectors and stuff, which I really respect, the religious people. But, yeah, it's fucked. Obviously, sending that many young people to their deaths for imperialism, so stupid and so depressing. I made a video about it on the anniversary of the end of the war. Charles saying, run for MP and I'll run for Senate in 2032. Yeah. I don't know where I'd run, though. I don't think my district would take kindly to me. Yeah, Evan, that's true, I guess. and the Labour movement gained even more prominence after World War One. It's kind of the reason we didn't have Marxist revolution in Britain. Melvin, why did the Rational Voice have an account of an 8-year-old girl? Is he a creep or something? He just has loads of accounts. Like, he changes like the picture and who he tends to be. But Melvin is a Rational Voice, isn't he? Yeah. Well, Melvin. Melvin, well, what's your career of great interest? No, Melvin looks legit, actually. No. Melvin is the Rational Voice. The only videos he's liked are Rational Voice videos. Get out of here. How many fucking channels do you have, man? No, he's gone. How many channels does he have? Do you guys have primaries? You have a leadership contest for the leader of the party. I'm not sure what the process is at the local level. I think they just pick them. Panisian saying people are still brainwashed. Yeah, people are still brainwashed today. Voting for Trump, aren't they? So, guy saying, living since 1994 in Austria, but the war started in Yugoslavia when the first shitfest started. Yeah, what country in Yugoslavia are you from? Like, in terms of today's countries. Eugene Debs was a real IG for encouraging draft dodging in World War One. Yeah, I expect the people who did that in World War One, like, because obviously the societal pressure of signing up was absolutely crazy. Running in Surrey or in Hampshire, I know someone from my uni who ran in Hampshire for the Lib Dems, didn't do so well. Sue Load said it's an absolute joke. Someone like Carl Benjamin could run for European Parliament. You could too. Only difference is you seem to have actual grasp on geopolitics. The thing is, though, because Sargon of Akkad is like a notorious figure, and UKIP are like just doing anything to get some seats and shit. So I'd have to join someone like that because I don't think the Labour Party would take me seriously. It depends, though. You know, I would obviously run for European. I'd run for anything like that. It'd be cool. If that was my job, it'd be sick. But I'll see. I'm not involved in any political parties, so that counts against me as well because they just probably think I'm an opportunist. Bosnian. Oh, okay. That's what I was asking. Evan saying, if you want to know how many channels Rational Voice has, just look at his sub count. And Honor saying, Carl's a useful idiot. Charles saying you can make $175,000 in Congress. Yeah, that's something I keep talking about in my videos. Like how politics is like a job to get rich for Americans. Like that shouldn't be it, really, should it? Like in the UK, how much does Jeremy Corbyn make? Like, is it 70k? Or is it 100? He makes 100k a year, but he gets a salary from being the leader, and a salary from being MP. So it's a bit different, isn't it? But that's how it should be. You shouldn't be getting into politics to get rich. Like AOC saying the first time she got healthcare was when she became a congresswoman. It is mental, really. What's an MP salary? Everyone's saying not enough for the Tories. Rational Voice. Why do you have so many accounts? It's so sad. Oswald Cobblepot. Go away. Average MP salary. Let me have a look at it quick. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream soon. Get any other comments in if you want me to say something. MP salary UK. It's 79,000 MP salary. And then you get expenses to cover the costs of running an office, employing staff, having someone to live in London, all their constituency, and travelling between Parliament constituencies. That seems pretty cushy, to be honest. 79k, and then you get all the expenses as well. That's pretty good for like your travel and your living. That's pretty sick. Wrapping up already. Yeah. When did I start? I've been streaming for two hours and 9 minutes. It's not so early. But there's some other stuff I want to do. I need to plan some videos to film tomorrow because I haven't really got any ideas for this week. Anything people think I should make videos on this week? There's one. Last couple comments. Anything I could cover this week? YOLO. Oh, thanks, Mac. Thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. My sugar daddy, consistent donator. Nah, I appreciate it, man. Cheers to that. Buy me a beer. If I drunk beer. American Revolution. Yeah, actually, Joel, that's a good one. I was thinking about doing that. I need to. So Alex saying, while in Scotland, I noticed a few military commercials. Does Britain have military propaganda as the time it says the US does by brainwashing the youth and making it a cool video game? There is military propaganda in a way, I guess, because there are adverts from the military, but our military is really declining, and I think the social benefits and everything aren't great. So I don't think lots of people want to join. Like one of my mates is in the army, so I'm trying to get him on a video. I'm going to talk about everything. Like he guarded Donald Trump last year. He was like patrolling the streets in London during the terrorism stuff in 2017. So I'm gonna make a little series with him. Get a couple of videos out. It might be quite interesting. But it's not as strong. Like, I don't think there's no like massive pro military stance. So it's not like the only time it really flares out is Remembrance Month in November every year. But yeah. Oh, cheers, Andre. Thanks a lot. Have a pint. Good stream. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate the donation. Appreciate the support. Yeah, appreciate everyone who's commented tonight. It's been fun. I'm actually quite tired. I think that's why I'm not as energetic. So Evan's saying, I like those ads. We only have one division in the UK at the moment. Those ads were kind of dumb though. It's like if you're like like some sort of gamer, you'll be good in the army or something. Have I seen the movie Religious? What I don't know how to say that, but Bill Maher is a hack at this point, but I used to like him. Is that when he like interviews like I'm remembering this scene. He goes to like the Vatican and interviews that priest. Like there's an American one. Peter Quill is the rational voice. Yeah, I think that's true. I'll just have a little check. Yeah, you guys were right about the rational voice though. He uses bot accounts to inflate his views and his likes. Because when I go on these channels, everything that they like is rational voice. Yeah, so American Revolution, I could do that. I wanted to do a video because I've been watching it again, the Cenk Uygur Sam Harris debate. I might make a video on that, but that'll take a bit longer because that's obviously like a 4-hour video they made. So I need to go through it again. I watched it the other day, and I don't. Yeah, I was saying on Twitter like I don't agree with either of them anymore. But I used to agree more with Cenk, and then I thought I maybe agree with Sam Harris more, but Sam Harris butchers history so bad, man. It just pissed me off. Like when I made that video about like debunking alt-right myths about the Crusade, and then he basically says the exact same ones. It's not surprising how he got so popular. Rational Voice, your subs aren't real. You've commented on this chat with like 10 bot accounts. There's probably more. You little knobhead. Also, you like Michael Tracy. He's weird, man. He was saying on Twitter the other day, Michael Semitism? That anti-Semitism doesn't exist in the US. Didn't he used to work for the Young Turks? He looks homeless. I got finals this week. What are finals? Are they high school exams? Sam Borman into Stone Age Harris. Yeah, exactly. He did work for TYT. Yeah, I thought he did. But then I saw him denying how his debate with Sam Cedar was fine to watch. What are they debating? Final exams. All right, good luck, man. So how you do on these will determine your grades for university, I'm guessing. They debated Russiagate. History about Venezuela. Yeah. The thing is, I always got to think about is the effort put in, like, worth the views sometimes? Because, like, I'm all for putting in, like, a lot of effort, but I made that, like, super fucking long video on the Iraq War. It's actually an old video. I deleted it and re-uploaded it. But still, I put loads of effort in it. Just didn't do very well. And not that I'm all about the views and stuff, but I like it to get like a certain amount of views to make it worth the upload and stuff. But Charles was 21. No, I think he said he's born in 90. No, when did he say he was born? 2002. I'm just saying, Sam seems to know he's sold out to the Dum Dum Right. That is why he changed the name of his podcast to Making Sense, I guess, to wake him up. Making Sense, I guess, waking up wasn't quite on the nose enough for his audience. I think he has some interesting things to say, but sometimes I find when you come from when you start talking about things that are not in your field, like Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris, it leaves a lot to be desired. I think when you're talking about like the psychology of stuff rather than like because historical knowledge, both of them is super lacking. And as someone who loves history, and obviously that's my background and stuff, it's very ridiculous, and it's I don't really understand people who talk with authority about things they don't have a background in or don't know anything about. Like, for example, I'm not going to start talking about psychology with authority, like I'm a voice in the psychological community or whatever it's called. Whereas they seem to think they're an authority on everything, which is kind of annoying. So guys saying, I have 101 bot accounts. Okay, Rational Voice, you have 300 subs and you're telling me 100 of them are bot accounts. That's not great. And that means your views are probably from 100 different bot accounts. So guys saying, I was disappointed at Hitchens after he showed his war hawkish face. Yeah, he supported the Iraq War, didn't he, Hitchens? Which is really stupid. Because he hated Saddam Hussein. But it's interesting for a guy who's so against religion and was so against Islam before he died to support the Iraq War. Because did he not understand what would happen if Saddam Hussein went? Just get Islamists, like, destroying the country. Yeah, Jenny Nicholson's funny. Rational Voice, you're getting on a timeout again. So Chol has an exam in entomology, African American history, cultural anthropology, Western civilization, and statistics. Man, high school's so varied, man. Like, you get none of those subjects in secondary school. It's all just pretty standard stuff. Panisian saying, after 9/11, turn Hitch crazy. It's that simple. Maybe that's true. I haven't followed him as much. I've only watched some of his stuff. Andre saying, I've read all Sam's books. I still listen to his podcast on occasion. He just seems to have sold out all of his own arts. Yeah, I got 2 of his books over there. One with, like, Majid Nawaz. But Majid Nawaz is such a fucking, like, sellout to, like, the alt-right, and people who hate him. Like, he's getting all butthurt on Twitter about how these white supremacists have been banned and stuff. I don't know what his problem is. What, is Greenwald defending Barr? Seriously? What's Purdue? Did you go to university? Charles wasn't in high school. No high schools offer those. Oh, okay. I know he's been held back loads of years. What did Hitchens do with the Kurds? I know he was for the Iraq War. Who's that? He's been Dave Rubin, Evan. Back when Dave Rubin was just a harmless member of TYT until the Sam Harris jank debate made him a right winger somehow. Turned him into like an insane nutcase. He promotes like white supremacy on his YouTube channel. Oh man, so disappointing. You know, I don't know if people remember. I used to watch the Rubin Report when it started, and he actually had some good people on. Like he had Jimmy Dore, and he had who's that guy? Stephen Fry, who I don't really like, but I mean, like, he's okay. And actually alright, like, he had some alright people on, but then he had started having people like Milo on, and all these crazy fucking right-wingers, and I stopped watching, I was like, what the hell is going on? Oh, you're a sophomore at Purdue University. Okay, well, good luck with your stuff. That's very varied, it seems like. Don't you just normally major and minor in, like, 1 or 2 things? Kennedy saying my brain is recovering from taking in so many high-level ideas. Is anyone here in college? I graduated in December for my masters, but Dave Rubin is such a sellout. Yeah, he is. You're 6th form, Evan 6th form. Hitchens preached the invading rat was just because of genocide of the Kurds. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like I think Sam Harris was saying that Cenk thing. Like in a vacuum, getting rid of Saddam Hussein, you can justify that morally, and I think you can in some sense. But what people need to do sometimes is just realize who they're trusting. Do you trust neoconservatives who want to invade North Korea, Iran, and Iraq and install capitalist free market democracies to promote themselves and get oil and stuff? Do you trust them to really carry out human rights, especially when people in the administration had backed Saddam Hussein? Like, what's it? Donald Rumsfeld had met Saddam Hussein in the 80s, and for Reagan to tell him he had his support with his war in Iran against Iran and stuff. So, sixth form is like the final 2 years of English school. Macberg, just because his free speech stuff, Stephen Fry, and he's like that thing he did with Jordan Peterson and stuff. I don't know. He's all right though as an atheist. I don't mind him. All right, I haven't looked at Dave Rubin's channel in years. He only like 100,000 subscribers when I last watched it. Is he massive now, Dave Rubin? What the fuck? He nearly has 1 million subscribers. That's crazy, man. I didn't know he had this many people. So who's he had on recently? Ben Shapiro, a Navy SEAL guy. Where's the white supremacists? I don't know any of these people, so I can't tell if they're white supremacists or not. But I think that's the bad thing about Dave Rubin is because he gets these people that you don't know, and because he provides them such a what's the word? Not just a platform, but his context of it, like a friendly conversation, I think is really dangerous because it just gets ideas into people's heads because of the conversation they have is so normal and it seems rational. So like he has Tucker Carlson on here, so you've got 800k views on that. Glenn Beck, right? I remember watching the first Glenn Beck one, and I remember thinking, Glenn Beck seems reasonable when he's talking in this conversation, but obviously he's a crazy right-winger who's a massive sellout and stuff. And then, Larry King's alright, but Larry King likes Dave Rubin, because they used to work together. Who else we got here? Cause I don't know all these people, but I can imagine, it's good for indoctrinating people into his bullshit. What is the Rubin report? And it's funny, I don't see any notable left-wing people on here. Maybe my knowledge of left-wing people is not great. Feed your brain. That's like Charlie Kirk. Oh my god. I'd love to watch that. Discussing Christianity and Islam with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk. Fucking hell. So fuck off, David Rubin, you little cunt. Sorry. Let me have a look at the comments. Sorry, I was scrolling through Ruby. Child takes political science and economics. Nice. I got a B CSE, but that was in 2000. What'd you get it in? He's so bad. Max, I thought the thing with Jordan Peterson was good. He went out of his way to say disagrees with Peterson on a lot of things. They could agree on this issue. I just hate Jordan Peterson. Maybe that clouds my judgment. Candace Owens, yeah, people like that. Oh my god, he hitches right into the internet. It's lucrative. How does he have 1 million subscribers? He's such an idiot, just like a lot of the right wingers. So Macbo saying in that debate, Eric Dyson went off on his name, and he came off as such a self-righteous tool. Kennedy. That's what I wanted to say. He sanitizes so many bad ideas. Yeah, exactly. And then Pernician saying, "You nailed it. Bad guys are bad, and they'll probably be replaced by other bad guys. And some number of people will have added to chaos in life. Iraq isn't justifiable." Yeah, exactly. Same Venezuela. Same pretty much any foreign intervention. When the people doing these things don't have good intentions, and you can clearly see that from their record, I don't know why anyone trusts them to be benevolent and help a country out like Iraq. Like, this tells you everything, right? The one instance the world could have acted benevolently was during the Rwandan genocide, right? And what did they do? Nothing. They let it happen. Because what was to be gained, like Bill Clinton, what was to be gained from going into that country and helping out and stuff? That's one instance they could have stopped the genocide and they didn't do anything because there was nothing to be gained from doing it. And that tells you everything they need to know. So everyone came together to fight Saddam Hussein in the first Gulf War. Why? Because it was in an oil-rich territory. Saddam Hussein was going to invade Saudi Arabia after Kuwait. I don't know if people remember that. That's why US troops were stationed in Saudi Arabia, because that's where so much of the world's oil comes from, and so many deals with the Western countries. So all the world came together. Like, it was a massive coalition. Even the USSR was in this coalition of people to fight Saddam Hussein, right? But when a genuine genocide happens in some poor African country, like where you can legit just help people, just to help people, no one does anything, because that's how the world works. They don't actually. The thing is what I talk about a lot. Realist international relations theory, inspired by like Machiavelli, Thucydides, and this guy called E.H. Carr in the 30s, basically, countries will never do the moral thing. It's always about what gives them more power, but they often talk about morals to justify what they're doing to their population in the world, right? And that, to me, is the reality of what the world is. These countries will justify Saddam Hussein being like, oh, he's another Hitler, he's another Hitler. I actually wrote my master's thesis about New York Times propaganda about Saddam Hussein and general media propaganda about Saddam Hussein in the 90s being like another Hitler and stuff, even though in reality he was like another Nasser in Egypt, and just how they use their power to just justify these things. And then when some people genuinely need their help, powerless people, they won't do anything. So Charles saying, should I do a PhD or just a BA? Well, PhD is really hard to get into because you have to get funded and get all these interviews and stuff. So do a master's or just do a degree, do whatever. So Evan's saying there was one person who was anti-gay and Dave Rubin is gay, and when the guy was told, yeah, I saw that, it was the black guy, wasn't it? And on, he was like saying like he shook hands with a gay guy and he couldn't believe it. So Razor saying, I post on BreadTube now like you suggested. Oh, okay, I'm leaving you here for now. I know it's a rational voice again. Veronica, hi Veronica. There are a lot of good videos on Rave Dubin as a failed journalist and part of the alt pipeline. Yeah, exactly. So Veronica saying he's paid by right wingers, hardly as any real left wingers on. Yeah, exactly. Who's Tommy Sotomayor? Is Razor the rational voice? Yeah, he is. Evan saying that's amazing, guys. Language is sign of society. Oh, he deleted the comment. So, neuroscience is it's totally outdated. Why is neuroscience outdated? You can be like Ben Carson. Rational Voice has like 300 subs. He's an idiot. Yeah, Kennedy. Candace Owens testifying before Congress. Like AOC said on Twitter the other day, can they not even pick anyone smarter than that? Like, it just makes it's embarrassing for them as well. So Evan saying Dave Rubin interviewing an anti-gay guy is shocking, but it just shows how much of a sellout he is. Can you imagine me interviewing someone who says, you as an Irish person, you're scum, you're like literally should be, we should commit genocide against you, and I don't agree with you being Irish or some shit like that, and I just sit there and take it, and I'm like, yeah, let's have a rational conversation about this. Kennedy's really good at spotting those bots. Max saying, I let Bill Clinton stick a cigar up my no-no hole if he wanted. What? So guy's saying his native language is Yugoslavish, and he lived in Istanbul. When he learned Turkish, German language. Oh, that's pretty cool. And you rusty English. I wish I knew more languages. My friend speaks Arabic, French, English, Portuguese, and Spanish. It makes me so jealous. I only speak English, and I can read some French, and that's pretty much it. Shit, sorry, my thing said that. All right, Evan. Good night. Cheers for joining the stream. Sorry if you've gone to bed already. I'm catching up some comments, but yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. Appreciate it. Ben Carson is neurosurgeon. Oh, okay, very different. Neuroscience just how lots 2000. There are a lot of black conservatives in America. Are they? Well, I wouldn't be surprised because African Americans still quite religious, aren't they? It's different. It's different though compared to like obviously batshit evangelical white Christianity. Veronica, Candace Owens does not need to be smart. She needs to be black and willing to lie on black people. Yeah, exactly. Andre saying I grew up in the same religion as Ben Carson. They are nutbags. Everyone is. So Stanley Tucker saying just join. Love your content, man. Why the 3 a.m. live stream? Well, I've actually been streaming since 12:40. I think I'm gonna stop soon, but it just gets that way sometimes. But yeah, cheers for joining, even though it's late. That's interesting. Black people are more socially conservative as a whole. Well, it's weird because black Muslims aren't as conservative as non-American Muslims, which is interesting. That's more socially conservative. A fair one. Alright. It's slowing down. Alright, I think we'll end it there. 3:15. It's a good ending point. So, thanks for everyone for tuning into the stream and everything. A good conversation. Lots of good things to talk about. More personal than normal, not as many political things. But this week on the channel, I honestly don't know what videos I'm going to make. Someone said the American Revolution, that's pretty good. I might make the Jenkins Sam Harris thing. I'll have a look. I just need to come up with some ideas, man. Maybe another British take on something, but I'm not too sure at the moment. But anyway, yeah, cheers everyone for tuning in. Cheers to the regular people. Thanks to the new people as well. People just found me tonight. Rational voice. I don't know what we're going to do with you. Why don't you just act like a normal person and then you can stay? I don't really understand anything like what you're doing, just trolling with so many bot accounts. It's just so stupid. But yeah, maybe we'll try out the video game thing. But anyway, yeah, cheers to everyone who normally tunes in. Thanks to everyone else. And yeah, next Sunday, similar time, if people want to tune in for another live stream.